A couple of data points here just coming through. Canadian GDP, one of those. We're also getting core PCE reading coming through. I'll just get rid of these windows so we can have a look at some of this data here. Core PCE index month over month for June, 0.3% to the upside versus a prior 0.2% reading. Personal income comes in 0.3% versus negative 0.4% on the prior. Personal spending June month over month, 0.3% versus a flat reading. Our GDP on this side of the border, negative print there, negative 0.1%. Sharif's shaking his head already. To the downside we go once again. Yeah, our economy is not great. 0.1% month over month prelim for June. On the prelim number, though, it did get back to green at least, but oh well, who cares about us? Here's the Nasdaq back to all-time highs this morning and then some after absolutely monstrous earnings reports last night. Basically across the board, we get a couple more this morning to add to the party. Roblox absolutely flying right now if you haven't looked at it. I mean, ARM's really the only one that's struggling to the downside here this morning, but that's not going to matter too much right now for the overall market when the majority of the market cap from two stocks anyways that reported last night, monstrous for Meta and also MSFT, up and away, both on the market cap side of things and the earnings side of things. Here comes $4 trillion for Microsoft.
Brendo, these things are trading like the small caps that we trade on the midday. What is this? Double-digit growth for a Mag 7 name. Beautiful. Look, guys, the NQ's knocking on the door of 24,000. We're breaching 23.8.5 almost right now. We're a little bit below 23.8 actually. There's a lot to talk about, guys. Meta, as Brendo mentioned, up 11 1/3. Microsoft as well. Apple and Amazon on deck. Make sure to catch that tonight with the Katina Man and myself and Adara on the Market Recap Show. Oh yeah, we have an IPO today, Brendo. FIGMA. Remember, this one was a target of Adobe. I got kibosh because of regulatory concerns, so keep your eye on that. That probably goes live during the midday with Joseph and I. Hood, ARM, Qualcomm, NCLH, Brendo, all reporting. Likewise with Ford and CVS. Carvana, Roblox up aggressively. There is a note, though, on the monster NVIDIA with China. They're putting, well, China's accusing them of putting on board systems to shut these things down and spy. We're talking specifically the H20, Brendo.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything can stop NVIDIA at this point, but yeah, here's Roblox, just took out 148 to the upside, up $20 here in the pre-market on an absolute monstrous number, numbers plural, right across the board for Roblox. An interesting note on both Meta and Microsoft. I was reading a little bit about Figma as well last night. I didn't really know much about that company, but one of the main uses that Figma offers, or one of the main products that Figma offers, is when you're having a website built, the person who's building it or the company that you bring on to build your website can send you samples of the final product for your approval within their platform, within Figma. And you can see what it's going to look like.
Very cool.
This or say, no, change this or move the layout around. So, yeah, I mean, a huge market, but competition. There's a lot of competition in that space.
Absolutely, and Adobe was trying to get their hands on it. It was $20 billion, Brendo, that fell through, and now they're IPOing at around 19 1/3. So not really that far off that $20 billion valuation. It's going to trade on the NYSE, likely on the midday as they raised $1.2 billion and FIG, Brendo.
It's not the first one. I mean, there's been a few that they come out on the NYSE and then down the road they switch to the Nasdaq.
The Nasdaq, yeah.
It feels like one that should be on the Nasdaq, but anyway, it's been a while, guys, since we've had decent-sized IPO here today. FIG to come.
Good morning. But one note about that Adobe and Figma. That $20 billion offer was 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, they wanted to buy them for 20, and now it's 19.3. Way to go, FTC. Because clearly...
Thank you, Randy.
Well, thanks, Randy.
These plums actually look pretty legit.
They look delicious, so we'll be happy to get that. But there's so much to, like, what's crazy to me, you got Meta and Microsoft and Carvana and Roblox and Reddit making a power move up $10 today. I mean, AbbVie's up 5%.
Oh, good.
There's just movers all across the board.
What happened to Reddit's just going now?
And Robinhood, I didn't hear the news on Reddit, and then Robinhood literally did nothing. One of the most volatile stocks.
It's down 2%, actually.
Yeah, it's down now. It was flat last night, but talk about disappointment. You would not have thought that would be the case, but don't forget, the other thing that happened with our hyperscalers is they're still spending buckets and buckets of money, so NVIDIA's up, and CoreWeave is up, and SMCI is up and AMD is up, and the chips that didn't report are the upside. If you're benefiting from AI, then you're good. Well, no, if you don't benefit from AI, then
I was just joking. I don't know if Intel.
Oh, of course it's down. Well, actually,
it is down 1%.
Okay, good.
Come on,
it is down. But you're not betting from AI. And then Qualcomm and ARM are down because it's essentially it's just the smartphones, and that's going to be not the growth that you wanted out of that. So ARM guided poorly. There to the downside. Qualcomm actually wasn't that bad, but there's a million things to look at, and we haven't even mentioned that the Fed did what we expected, which was nothing, but Powell's pessimistic talk regarding future cuts, and especially September, brought the odds down. That dumped us, but it didn't matter because Meta and Microsoft erased all of that in seconds.
We've got Kevin O'Leary coming around 10:30, 10:45, so we'll hear what he has to say. He's been talking about different stocks, different names. We'll hear his opinion, obviously, on the interest rates as well, coming up at 10:45. That'll be with Adara, and then we'll see if we can get some questions in with him as well. Yeah, no, Reddit just for some reason, I mean, it popped overnight. That's fine, but then right now, again, up another $4 goes Reddit. So this name just continues to make new highs here as well. We've talked about how much I've sort of liked this name getting going, and yeah, I wonder how much I'll keep saying that until eventually buy some. I haven't been able to get into anything here. Bought some Palo Alto yesterday, but wow, what a monster. We were debating yesterday Meta or Microsoft or whatever, and I mean, it's just whatever. On Meta. There you go. Take your pick, really. I mean, both were such huge numbers and such great success stories. Taking out highs. Again, we talked about would Meta be able to do that today? Yes, they can. They did it easily. Their expected move was 6% or 7%. You're up 11 and a bit right there. Azure, we got... I think Google really paved the way for Microsoft to telling us that business was fine. And if we know business is fine, then yeah, this is another move right there for Microsoft. Again, all-time highs. And as Sharif mentioned, the Nasdaq bumping 1 1/3 already. So, TQQ has to be looked at today again. We looked yesterday at some of the dollar movements going through, so we can have just a quick little look here. If I just even go over to a 30-minute chart or so, looking to break, the strength in the dollar continues. But today with Nasdaq strength and these numbers, the dollar's not moving enough to probably play a factor there. But 99 up huge over the last month or so, or I guess it's not even the last month, the last week goes the dollar index, 96 up to 99. That's a huge move in just a week. So we'll see if the US dollar can calm down a little bit. And again, if this starts dipping, then I think the Nasdaq rips even more here. So excited to have a look at that and watch that as a secondary sort of indicator, I guess is a good way of putting it. But yeah, Nasdaq, look at that PCE number. Yeah, comes in basically as expected, a little bit hotter there on the 830 PCE number. But you get the dip into the 50 period, and then you get the rip again right now. So the market's just going nuts right here, Randy. I mean, unfortunately, the EV space remains pretty quiet with Tesla doing not much, down to 320.
Guess who's
but
down?
It's Meta, it's Microsoft, it's all these companies continue to break out new highs.
Ford.
Oh yeah, Ford came out with a report.
Yeah, remember the days when people actually cared when Ford
it's
reported?
Moving around with some volume here.
Oh, it bounced a little.
Million shares.
Good for Ford. It bounced off $10. It's only down 1%. This was much worse in the aftermarket last night. So
yeah, got down 210 exactly.
Yeah.
We're all kind of wearing blue here today as Blue Jays get back on the winning side of it.
Deadline today.
Yeah, I know.
Who got the 3-run homer? La Profita? I forgot.
Joey L.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we need
they,
our IR cleared out. We need Santander back and the boys for the home run stretch.
That's amazing. The guy we get in the offseason is the one that's contributed nothing, but he's hurt. So what are you going to do?
Shoulder inflammation.
Yeah,
well, I know.
We're ready to go though.
They need to make a big deal.
Today's going to be.
I
I hope so. I'm going to be watching the headlines.
Nice to
we got to get this home stretch figured out. And go Jays, go.
Yeah,
let's get it.
We've always said that when the Jays are playing well, the city is buzzing with that. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Do something until hockey season comes around, man.
Yeah, it's getting close. NFL starts this weekend.
Tonight.
Oh, does it tonight? Yeah.
Hall of Fame games tonight. It's
Detroit. No, it's Tennessee.
Chargers. No,
Chargers.
It's Detroit. Detroit and the Chargers.
Yeah. It's Trey Lance time for the Chargers.
Trey Lance
coming to take.
Trey Lance is on the Chargers?
Yeah, he's coming to take Justin Herbert's job. Oh
poor
man. Guy. Anyways,
it's not his fault. It's never a dude's fault they get drafted.
No, he threw like 200 passes or something before he even got drafted.
He was completely inexperienced.
Trey Lance and the Dallas Cowboys.
He'll probably go off in the preseason, And then fools will take him in fantasy, thinking he'll be like a hot last.
Yeah,
pick in
well,
the
some guy named
dynasty.
Jason will take him in our pool and try to trade him to me because I have Herbert.
Yeah, because they always
So he's
try to
gonna-
do that.
He's gonna wait.
He did that with Dak last year. Whoever had
the
Dak,
guy-
he
the
tried the
guy's too
same
much.
nonsense.
The guy-
We have a guy in our pool who's like, he with his last pick, all he's looking to do is snag some kind of a weird handcuff,
Which is kind
that
of
he
a good
tries to hold
idea.
over your head. If it's a running back, it makes sense, but if it's a quarterback, it's like, come on, man.
He's gonna sit there for
Come on,
nothing.
he sits on your bench the whole time. Basically, like Ford should be sitting on your bench the whole time, or like Intel should be sitting. on your bench
I
the
don't
whole
want to
time.
put Meta or Microsoft or anything on the sticky note because they're trading. Like yesterday, we got caught up with Starbucks. It was all the way up, and then it was all the way down, and then we had to battle back from that all day. So I think it's best just to wait and see if these levels
Forget
settle
about the
down.
chips. The chips are all so good.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, what do you mean? Don't forget about the chips. I mean,
Well, I know, we're not gonna
AMD and Nvidia continue to be just rocking every day. Like now you're at 183 for AMD
And
Up
Nvidia.
and
They're
Nvidia. Up-
literally the same price right now.
That's what I was going to say because we had that discuss. Yeah, wow, 180. Yeah,
Actually,
they're
this
within
is-
3 cents of each other.
This is annoying for putting orders in your order book, and because in your order log, I sort by price,
Oh, I sort by alphabetical.
which
so.
I might have to change that because you don't. Well, it doesn't really matter. You could easily cancel the wrong order if you happen to be looking at the wrong stock, but it doesn't
Shoot,
matter.
man, AMD. Yeah, all these stocks are just so far up right now. I mean, do we want to blow through the bottom or the top today?
I still can't find anything on Reddit. They report after
know.
the bell, and there's still no story as to why they're going.
Yeah, no, I mean it's what we talked about before. If Meta, social media is starting to go to the upside, right there probably benefits Reddit and what their number is going to be, right? I mean, if we keep on getting advertising pretty strong in the social media space, I said that Reddit's the next one, because people are fed up sometimes with Facebook, and then I don't know about
well,
Instagram.
yeah.
I mean, we got to wait to see what happens with WhatsApp. I don't know.
Still want to see Discord come out, but
All right, I think we're gonna have a segment soon. I'm not sure when, but we are gonna have Joe come through and talk a little bit about options. So if you guys are ready for that one,
he's got to set up his iPhone before.
Roblox. Yeah, I got to hear that story there. He's ready to go. I think he's got the iPhone there. It looks pretty nice. How is the iPhone going, Joe? Set up now. So is it still downgrading Apple? Can we get Joe on here? I want to talk to this guy about Apple quickly. So what are you thinking about Apple? I mean, what was wrong with the experience, man? I mean, tell me what happened yesterday.
To be honest with you, just transferring everything over to the new phone, it was pretty simplistic, I guess. Maybe I'm not the most tech savvy, but at the end of the day, it just took forever for everything to download. I'm like, I thought it'd be a little bit more compatible and a quicker process, but that wasn't the case whatsoever. So,
But you started off by saying it was very simplistic, and then it got complicated real quick, right?
yeah,
there.
it did.
I
Because listen. So I had to change all my authentications over.
Yeah,
do
that
some
part
more
sucks.
face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Got to do more
I feel
Face
you.
ID.
But you went
and-
from Apple to Apple, or
Yeah. I went Apple to Apple.
Shouldn't that be really easy though? Like, I don't know.
It takes time, man. It takes time. You gotta switch
does
over.
take time.
The worst thing is though, is all the passwords that you need to remember, and it's like come on, there's so many, and I don't have my book with me. So yeah, I have my little password book, and I didn't have that. So
you
it
used
was
to
a
write
little
your
bit of a
passwords
struggle.
down in a book?
Uh-oh.
I mean, I don't. Honestly,
You guys don't.
I
have
just
one?
look at my phone, like you talked about that, and it just opens up. Like the passwords are in there already, built in.
Yeah, they're all.
Next time Apple asks
man.
you
They're
to
all-
say.
No, I'm not going to show them,
course
but
not.
this is where all the passwords are at,
Okay, there's a
lost- this guy's
0%
lost his
probability
mind.
that A, that's in that book,
Yeah.
or B, that you're really keeping all your passwords in a book. No,
He is. I believe that he is keeping passwords in a book. He does not seem to.
even my mom's doesn't do that anymore. No, maybe, I don't know. It's probably not the most secure thing to do, I would think.
But doesn't it, when you make a password on an app or something, it asks you if you want to save it to Chrome or to Apple, or you want to give, like, there's keys available and all this kind of stuff that you can do there. But anyways, you'll. What was your old iPhone number? 12. 13. So from a 13 to a 16. That should have been pretty seamless.
Well, I don't know. Look, I'm an Android person. It's like, I don't know. It just,
This guy's too much.
it's pretty easy.
When I went from
No,
Android to Apple, it was pretty.
No, but
easy.
that's what, and that's what you hear. But
Hey man, when you're dealing with options, you're dealing with options, man. Like, let's not
Exactly.
worry about this guy's not Dan Ives over. He doesn't have to worry about loading
His
up his
focus is
iPhone.
elsewhere.
He doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have to worry about loading up the betas and the deltas and the gammas and all this stuff. This is what this guy's worried about. All right, let's go back over to the desk because we are now moments away
we are moments
from hearing what Joe's specialty is. Not configuring iPhones, apparently, guys over there.
Saving passwords.
Over there at the desk.
At a short Apple, maybe is
Yeah, well, he came in
Joe's trade today.
right away, Brendo. He came in with the phone in the afternoon yesterday. I'm shorting Apple. He was very, very gung-ho about it.
Real quick, Amazon chopping around here a little bit. This was late yesterday, but worth noting they're going to team up with New York Times. The $20 to $25 million a year for AI training from the new NYT for Amazon. So we're
Save them some lawsuits, possibly.
yeah,
in the future,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think we're going to see more and more of these types of deals coming through. For AI training, there was one other thing I was going to mention. I can't think of it right now. Let's get to how to short Apple today with our friend Joseph.
Well, you don't even get headphones with the new phone anymore, so I don't know what's going on with this. So yeah, we'll have to figure it out there. Maybe I'll talk to Tim there. So we'll see what we got going on. No, guys, in all seriousness, let's break some things down. Right, we're getting into the thick of earnings season. Obviously, we have the likes of Apple reporting this evening as well too. So there's a lot to talk about, especially regarding options. All right, so we know that there's volatility. IV is really important when determining if you're going to buy options or if you're going to sell them even. But here I want to reference buying them because leading into earnings, this is when we're going to get that increase in volatility, all right? And with that comes increase in premiums. Can you write after? Absolutely. But let's focus on what's to come first, all right? So Amazon, this is going to be its expected move. So we're looking at approximately a 5% expected move in either direction. That can put us at a high of around 241 and a low of around 218. But what is this telling us? Well, we can also see that we have a high level of at-the-money implied volatility. With that being said, we have an increase in options premiums, all right? So 92.8%, so it's relatively close. You'll get different gauges. But when we are buying options leading into earnings, the market is going to price that in. Don't think that you're going to be getting these contracts at any form of a discount. Now, what is this at-the-money IV telling us? Well, it's pretty dramatic if you put it this way, but it's saying that in a span of a trading year that the price of the underlying can move in 92% in either direction. So that's almost a double. But what is this also telling us? That after the report, and we exceed this expected move, you're going to see session after session a slow decay in volatility. Now, if you don't exceed that expected move, you're almost going to be caught offside with your options contracts because day by day, you're going to go through volatility decay. You've paid an extended premium because the at-the-money IV is really, really high. But then day after day, you're going to slowly start to see that decrease. And what that can do is, say you pay $4 for this contract right here, $4.25. So in equity terms, that's going to be $425. But that's being priced in. So if the underlying were to stay at that specific strike price, $235, you're going to lose money as your at-the-money volatility day by day starts to decay. And that is not good, all right? So we'll take a look at another name here as well, and that's going to be Coin. Coin is reporting after the bell, and we're looking at a 6.5% expected move. Now take a look at our at-the-money IV, 150%. We'll pull it up on our options chain here, and we'll take a look at what some of these at-the-money premiums cost. So $3.90, you're paying $8.40. $387.50, you're paying $9.35. But look at our at-the-money IV, 119.8%. That is extremely expensive. Now you can say, Joe, what is a average volatility that I'm looking to buy outside of earnings? And that's going to be around 30 to 40%. I think that's somewhat reasonable. But when you have these elevated levels of at-the-money IV, the premiums are extremely, extremely expensive. And if you don't exceed that expected move on that report and the following session, come next week, that volatility is going to start to decay day by day, and you're going to lose money even if you're in the money on your contracts and they have intrinsic value. you're going to lose unless you've exceeded it and continue to surpass those specific strike prices. So just keep in mind, when you're buying options leading into your earnings report, you're paying an expense and a heightened premium. And if you don't beat that, you're going to have to let go of those contracts relatively quick before you just lose money to volatility decay, guys.
There it is. Joey Options doing what he does best, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's
and
why.
I'll lay off the password thing.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I mean, that's what we talked about. You know, if you do have an idea about trading into earnings, it sometimes is a good look to get it a couple weeks before so that you don't have, you know, that last minute sort of rush to the door here as everybody today. Because see, like now, if you liked Amazon, just as to Joe's point, it's up 3% already today. So it's like you almost want to make the play
too, yeah.
Yeah, and make the play hoping that, you know, some of the, I guess, tertiary names like a Microsoft and Amazon and Google and all that, if they came out and missed, you would have had maybe a little bit of a different story. But for right there, I just wrote down AMD and NVIDIA.
We have 2 super chats.
Oh, we do?
One of them, because you said AMD.
Yeah.
And the first one was about AMD. And it's from Ryan Nola. Shout out to you. Thank you so much, Ryan. We also got one from daytrader710. If AMD was a quarter of the market cap of NVIDIA, it would be a $660 stock. Let that sink in. Catch up, trade of the year. That's a big, long hashtag. And if they get 25% of the market share, then the stock is going to go through the moon. Coffee money, it's Eddie. Oh, that's a new tag. This is Eddie against Sarkeesian. Yeah, this weird YouTube thing where everyone's names changes on the channel. It's like day 2 of this. I don't remember what we did that fixed it, but this is Eddie Sarkeesian, apparently daytrader710. What's happening is like it changes your ID to like whatever like your YouTube page name is. So you have to go, it's like weird. You go into your own YouTube page and change your settings, and then you can change your name. But yeah, so you can do that if you want to get it back, Eddie. Thank you so much for the super chat. And if you're not looking at the chips long term, well, there's lots to look at today. So I mean, I could see why people might be looking elsewhere. But for the rest of this week, there's at least one chip name in your long quiver has made a lot of sense, whether it's AMD or NVIDIA or SMCI has been really, really good. They're all up a couple of points today, all basically the same. So as long as it's not ARM, Qualcomm, or Intel, the chip names look absolutely fantastic. And there we go, another super chat. Oh, you're killing us. Thank you so much.
Early.
75 early, just because you remembered my last name. It's a distinct last name, so
Yeah,
easy.
that was a good one.
So it's easy to remember. Thank you so much, Eddie, and appreciate it. And also, you know, big ups to the entire community out here. We have a fantastic community, and we love the chat. So you can always tag us, although instead of it being like our names, it's like Neil TTV. And I know it's whatever we kind of made on our YouTube page, so it's a little bit different. You just start typing our name, and it's pretty easy to find us. Another.
All right, yeah, so thank you so much for all of that. We want to say hello right there. We just got another quick little super chat, big wave. Hi. I can't Russian, I guess. I can't figure that out. All right, let's go back over to the desk now. We haven't seen these guys in a minute.
True.
I remembered what I was going to mention before. A couple things to the downside this morning. Some of these shippers not looking too good. Once again, 2 days in a row here for FedEx. UPS was the one that, if you remember, missed on the earnings report. So down again today. That's not a good looking week for UPS or FDX. QCOM, the other one, we didn't really mention, but it did break back above that 150 and then 152 now to the upside. Qualcomm a little bit cautious looking forward because of what Apple's planning to do with.
Absolutely, and they license a lot of their chips, Brendo, so that does make sense. And to build on your point about the shippers, a lot of the weakness in UPS, FDX is as a result of the de minimis removal.
Yeah.
A lot of those $800, sub $800 products coming in from China, vis-a-vis Temu and Shein, they're not coming in as much anymore. So yeah, they're definitely seeing a drop in amount of shipping coming out of China, which is one of their most profitable routes. We learned that from UPS EPS report. Let's talk about Qualcomm. EPS of 227, beating the 271 expected by the street on revenue of 10.4 billion, also ahead of the 10.3 billion expected by the street. Despite all that, you're down here about 4% or so in the pre-market. They did guide revenue of 10.3 to 11.1, but they did backtrack a little bit on that 10.6 that they had discussed prior. Guidance was viewed as unexciting by the street, despite being above consensus. Analysts from Bernstein reaffirmed their outperform rating, $185, Brendo, on that. Qualcomm trades at a 40% discount, though, to some of its chip peers, and a 50% discount when you look at it from the EPS perspective to the S&P 500.
Another one that isn't terribly exciting so far today, Robinhood, kind of chopping around. A lot of people were very interested, I think, in this report after the close last night. Initial move was up. Comes back on the forecast. It looks like that was basically in line with expectations, but some of these numbers for Robinhood pretty good as well.
They're ridiculous.
I mean, net profit more than doubling, 386 million. That's 105% to the upside.
We were talking about it yesterday. I'm getting so excited. I'm stuttering here. No, we were talking about it in the aftermarket show yesterday, and there were segments, Brendo, that were up 100% year over year. Yeah. The amount of money that came in, total assets being held. Their gold members, Brendo, 3 million now. They almost added a million new subs. So it was just a blowout report, but you feel the selling here was some profit taking as the market kind of understood where this was sort of going.
Yeah, this thing just sitting on the brink of 100 billion market cap now, guys, for Robinhood.
Like, it's look at the end of the day, just so you know, you're probably going to see us wiping down this desk. They're painting.
There's tons
they're
of
painting like everything black, so there's like this residue in a lot of places that you got to watch out for. So we're just gonna get some like Lysol wipes at some point. As I type it, Lysol. I can't even spell Lysol in our chat. Look, Robinhood. I know there's a lot of disappointment over what was ultimately it was a pretty good quarter, man. What are you gonna say? Like the growth in assets was fantastic. It was a beat. There's no point. There's no point. There's just no point trying to explain why it's down 1%. Who cares? Right now, it's just not getting the juice. I think there's going to be an opportunity to buy simply because there's a lot of people that will look at this and say, "Hey, that's a good quarter." We saw it with what's an example? Like Google eventually caught a bid when it was a good Q and they headed to the downside. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking two places: just prior support at 103 and then $100. Today. You could easily just have been, you ran up 4 times, 4x from April, and how many stocks? Well, maybe not 4 times, because it was like $30. So like 3.5 times. 3.5 times from the April low, and you just traveled too far. Maybe a little bit of disappointment because they didn't get in the S&P 500, which is still going to happen as we keep, eventually it'll happen. I don't know when, but it'll happen eventually. So just a little disappointment here. I think you want to look for a buy the dip spot today. The 100 is, it's psychological, but it's also on the daily, the last support level. And then 103 just happens to be not yesterday's low, but the low going back into Tuesday. So yeah, those are the two places I'll look for Robinhood. There's a lot of stronger looking charts, obviously, on a day like today. So a bit of disappointment with regards to Robinhood. I think we can also look, I'm going to be also looking at SOFI day 3 after their earnings.
Oh my God, it's right back.
It's gapped right back. There was a big seller all afternoon, well, most of the day before that last push in the aftermarket underneath $22. So I think longs in front of where that seller was the plan of action for me on SOFI. I can't figure a reason why it's even gapping 3.5%, except maybe it's weird, like sympathy on Robinhood's good numbers. So, but I still like this one as a nice real rebound play long in front of 22.
Yeah, for me, let's just think about, so I'm going to have written down Robinhood at $100 as well. So I think that's going to be a name that will tend the sticky note. I just want to say, like, if some of these alternative sort of investment platforms like a Robinhood, SOFI to some extent, SOFI obviously has its banking charter, but when you're looking at a name like Webull, it's similar to Robinhood in the fact that they have the cheap trading, the options platform. They're looking for obviously a few more customers. But if the business is going well over in Robinhood, like we said, the quarter was great. If we're going to use excuses like they didn't hit the S&P 500, they did, all these kind of things, I think Webull has a lot of room to run if business is going well. And this break right here of 1430 is pretty interesting here on Webull to me anyways, yesterday's level. So that was a good quarter from Robinhood. We got a great quarter from SOFI. SOFI sold off, Robinhood sold off. SOFI was up at the beginning of the day, but then sold off during the end of the day, as we know. What about just buying Webull and thinking a little bit, saying, okay, this is like that secondary name that could move. It's had a huge move to the downside. It looks pretty decent here. Well, the daily looks like that because we just IPO'd, but you know, there's levels here that's look pretty solid to me, man. This $13 area, $12 area. I don't think you can go wrong trying to take a Webull here today. And if Robinhood actually gets going, like I think a lot of us think is going to, doesn't Webull kind of go with it just because? I might add Webull here as an idea. When are we talking about it? Oh shoot, I got to go to details. When are we talking about a report here for Webull? Because it doesn't have it listed on here. So if I go into calendar earnings, August 28th. So we're still a ways away. All right, so August 28th. So still a month away or so from Webull earnings. So yeah, I won't get the push maybe from volume there, but Robinhood I think wins. Yeah, $100 is a great little level there, but I do think that Webull breaking through 1430 is something. And thing is, if you take that trade, like this is a big share trade, I think, because if you get 20 cents, that's great, and I think you have 20 cents worth of risk back into 1410. So, you know, even if 1,000 shares, 20 cents, $200 one way or the other, I think it works, and I think it's worth taking that. You know, you could get something back into here where we were the last couple days. I like the trade on Webull breaking through 1430 as a secondary play, but I think you only want to take it if you see Robinhood running. So that would be that, but yeah, all right. Big names all around today. Meta, Microsoft going to be on most people's minds. Roblox, I just asked Marissa, and yeah, we still have, the kids initially bought Roblox in their account, so it's nice to see that at all-time highs. We'll be talking to them about that today.
Monster move.
And let's go back over to the desk today. Reddit and FIGMA IPOs today is going to be huge. So there's so many things to talk about. I hope it comes out before we're done our show, but I'm not sure that will happen. But definitely on the midday, they'll be all over
like
FIGMA and looking at all of those names. So we're excited at the end of the day about FIG. Coming out at a valuation less than what Adobe offered,
which is hilarious.
Which seems funny, but AI is making a play, right, on all these names.
It's already $11 million to buy.
You've already seen Adobe stock get to the downside. I know I think it's going to take a while for them to settle that out.
That's wild. $11 million to buy already.
I'm sure it will be. There it is. I'm sure it will be on our. So that's how oversubscribed it is. And it has an auction price right now of $33. But once the market opens up at 9:30 and they start to try to deal with that, that options price is going to increase. That auction price is going to increase. So, all right, it's 9:02. Let's go, man. There's so much to do. Make sure you grab our watch. The street's going to tell you about the market now, though.
E395, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES September contract. So we closed a little bit below that 6,400. But when Meta and Microsoft reported yesterday, we took that out, we took it out, and then some. We're basically using now 6,450 as our support level rather than resistance. So look, if we hold that 50-point level, we're looking to that next 100-point level at 6,500 as resistance. If we lose the 50-point level, we're looking to the 100-point level at 6,400, Brendo, as support.
'Tis the season, earnings season that is, to have a good idea of what is going on. If you haven't done so yet, jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign up page for the watch list. Has everything on it every single day in the pre-market that's moving around and why. Comes right to your inbox for free. So why not? It's an email address. That's all you need. Let's go. Meta, top of the list this morning, rightfully so here. Just an absolutely monstrous move. Didn't even think about going down last night.
Rocketed it.
Didn't even think about it.
Rocketed.
Just straight to the upside. I mean, pick a figure. It was all just absolutely monstrous. I was trying to just ring through a few here. I was trying to find at least something that was maybe even in line with expectations, and I couldn't do it.
No, everything did really well. So let's just get right to it. EPS 714, easily beating the 592 expected on revenue of 47.5, easily beating the 44.8 expected, and a 22% year-over-year increase on that top line number. Advertising revenue, listen to this, Brendo. So they brought in $47.52 billion in revenue, of which 46.56 All but $1 billion in revenue is not advertising here. So good look there. We'll see. Q2 net income rose 36% up to $18.3 billion. Management warns, however, that the Q4 growth will slow a little bit as the comps toughen up. Q3 revenue, now we're talking about their guide. They're guiding $47.5 billion up to about $50.5 billion on that top line number, with their 2025 expense outlook slightly increasing $114 billion to $118 billion. They're actually talking now about spending in full year 2025, with their 2026 expense growth expected to accelerate. He's poaching talent and he's building data centers. The Reality Labs, this is kind of the only silver lining, but the market doesn't really care about it anymore. $4.53 billion loss on revenue, Brendo, of $370 million. The loss was smaller than expected, but so were the revenues. And that user base, oh baby, it keeps growing. 3.48 billion daily active users, beating estimates, and total expenses to acquire those did rise 12% year over year. And let's talk about the CapEx. They raised their guide to 66 to 72 billion, up from the previous level of $64 billion. So looking at spending more money. External partners for data centers is what they're looking for because they can't build enough of these things.
Barely a mention of the metaverse. So it's clear they've fully made the pivot towards putting AI on your face.
Absolutely.
Instead of maybe in your hand going forward. And he seems to be all in on the glasses idea for that. I mean, as you said, the Reality Lab's really the only glitch. But this is just crazy, guys, for Meta today.
Can't mean glitch. It doesn't even matter. Look, the advertising number gives a boost to things like we just talked about, because Reddit got a boost off of that, and then all of the nuclear names, like you saw, like I looked up and saw GVNova up because the capex spend was big. It's just, you heard all of the numbers. It's a $700 stock. We were discussing in the aftermarket show. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Are they going to split at some point? You know, could we see a meta split coming? And I could see that in the back half of the year. It's all systems go to 1,000. It's just so far up here. I'm trying to remember that we were basically trending down, not just in the stock for the last couple of days, but we were trending down because of Powell and the no cuts, the possible no cut in September, and that was weighing on the market a little bit here. So I would suspect that profit taking can come in when you have this monster of a move. Now, ultimately, we're expecting single digits with Meta. If it comes into like 750, 755, that'd be more reasonable. I don't know this is the one that I want to trade, because I feel like if it fills in the gap, it's more of a wait for like a mean reversion setup as opposed to a particular level. When it's this far, I don't know that just some level that you like is going to end up holding up if it dips. It'll be more waiting for a trend reversal or something along those lines. I think playing with the proxy of the chip strength from this number is going to be the way to go for me. So I'm eyeballing, the 81 level on NVIDIA and AMD. It's weirdly enough the same area. It's great they're the same price. And then SMCI will be on my watch for sure. This one could be just a simple breakout, but I like the levels. There was nothing changed from the dip buys yesterday. Like the 60 level stands out like a sore thumb if we get anywhere near it on SMCI. So yeah, I don't know if I'll end up trading in Meta, but supremely, I was upset that I had sold some Google to put into Meta, not because of Meta, because I thought that I should have sold something else. But Meta, you can't go wrong here. They're firing on all cylinders. It's a big win, and yeah, if you could rewind this tape back to when Powell was talking, if you had told people that Meta would be pressing $780, I don't know that people would have felt that way in the moment. But it just goes to show we're in earnings season, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I mean, that's what as soon as the Fed was hit yesterday, and we were like, it's 98% chance that there's absolutely no change at all. And I'm like, this is just earnings and it's tariffs. There's nothing else. I've said for a while, the Fed, and I think we've been right, has been irrelevant for a very long time. And we're not talking about the Fed right now, we're just talking about Meta. But yeah, there it goes, breaking out, taking out all these levels. The story remains intact for Meta. Big wins everywhere. Reality Labs, who really cares about it? You're making money now. I learned my lesson a little bit yesterday with Starbucks. I've always said I don't really want to mess too much with earnings plays, and I think that's why this name, you just want it. I mean, and yesterday for example, on Starbucks. I have to talk about this because otherwise it's not going to make too much sense. And I can give you like a real-time example. So like this was yesterday when Starbucks beat huge. They were up very similar. They were up 7 or 8%. So similar to what we're going to talk about next with Microsoft. And then all of a sudden it just fell right out, right? Like right out and right into $90. And if you go over here and you look on a daily for Starbucks, that's where we made our money, but we didn't make it all back. Someone asked if I did not get green on Starbucks yesterday. Just didn't put enough in at the bottom. But right there, $90, you know, was a key hold level, and it was where the 50-period moving average sort of met, right? So I just think that that was a lesson there. Let it fall back in and then kind of base out. It kind of started at 91. It does make a move into 90, but then you're able to ride that back throughout the morning, back up to some sort of a decent level and make your $3 or $4 that way instead of worrying about making it this way. You know, $3 or $4 is the same way no matter how it's made. Like I thought we were breaking this high. That's where we lost initially. We took that long right there. Well, I'm only trying to look for $1 or $2 anyways, from $98.50 up to $100. So why suffer through like a $9 loss when it drops down into $90? So if you're going to look at Meta, it's kind of the same way right here. I don't know. Do we really think that, you know, it could stop at 769 where VWAP is, or even where the 200-period moving average is at 757? This thing could fall down like a rock. I mean, it's huge name, huge move. Do I think it's going to do that? No, but could it? Yes. And if that does happen, I think this is a decent area to start it at 760, at least to start to look for it and to hope that there is some dip by opportunities. So if that comes through into 760, I think that's the first area to look. But I don't really want to touch this name until, what is it, METU is one of the ETFs. Oh, we don't have it. That's right. We don't have whatever the Meta. Yeah, I think it is METU. But anyways, at the end of the day, I want to see a level for Meta. I'm not going to hit this 780 long or whatever this pre-market high is, and you watch, it's going to be absolutely fantastic, but it's just up 12%. I do think the move continues, but I'm not willing to put risk into it until I see either some sort of a bottom or a break of the top and then a retest of that break, and that's where we'll try that break level again. So I sort of put my foot in the fire yesterday and got burned a little bit with Starbucks, so we're going to wait to see what this earnings play does. It's a $780 name. You know, it's a little bit different than taking Amazon on a break or taking Apple on a break if they report, as they report tonight, tomorrow. I'm not here tomorrow, but those names are a little more interesting to me with their price levels. But yeah, Meta, just a great story, a great name, and glad it's a big part of the portfolio, to be honest with you.
Microsoft next year, leaning back to the upside. I mean, same story, absolutely impressive right across the board. On the numbers side of things, I wanted to pick on one of them, the intelligent cloud number, 28.9 billion, up 17%. Azure remains the key driver of that, obviously, with more and more AI demand. It's different, though, in the sense that they're actually trying to monetize the usage versus anything else that other AI-based platforms are doing today.
Absolutely, Brendo, and it's a good look for them. They're getting a lot more tailwinds right now in their Copi and their 365. We'll get to that in 1 second, but let's talk about their numbers. 365 earnings per share on 337 expected, easily beating their revenue, 76.44 billion. The street was looking for 73.81. This is their fastest growth in over 3 years, Brendo, increasing that top line number 18% year over year with that net income, that take-home money, $27.25 billion, up from 22 last time. iCloud really driving the engine here. Their intelligent cloud unit, as you mentioned, Brendo, hit 29.88 billion. That's up 26% year over year and ahead of consensus. Azure, Joseph was very quick to message me yesterday about their Azure growth, 39% year over year, trouncing the expectations of 34 to 35, with their full year Azure cloud services now topping $75 billion in terms of revenue. That's a 34% bump year over year. Their productivity and their Copilot traction looking good here. They drew in about $33.1 billion from that, with Microsoft 365 adoption being a lot higher than it was last year. Their Copilot tools as well have now 100 million active users. Shout out to Joe for that.
Joe.
They're more computing, more personal computing, about $3.45 billion in revenue and 9% bump bump year over year with Windows licenses up 3%. Now let's talk about their CapEx or spending here. $24.5 billion spent in Q4, Brendo, up 27% year over year, with their full year 2026 now expected to be $120 billion in CapEx.
Unreal. Yeah, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
I take it,
Sorry,
guys. Yeah, pretty impressive right across the board here for Microsoft.
Meta, you can say about Microsoft. It's not. They're not the same company, but all of the positives you can say. So instead of repeating any of that, what I will say is they have something else in common. What they both have in common is they are both big customers for CoreWeave, and CoreWeave is up 12% because of that. And if you go back last round of earnings, basically the similar thing happened. CoreWeave up on sympathy to these numbers. So CoreWeave bounced off $100 yesterday. Okay, close enough to $100 yesterday. It was like 102 or something like that, but very, very close. And look at that reversal candle that it's putting in. I think, we talked about this being like overvalued and it was going to do its little back end. But that move, this is exactly the kind of thing that can get it turned around for a little minute. And the last time it bounced 50-period moving average 125 to 146. So now we're bouncing 100. I could see this one getting back into at least the low 120s in the next couple of days on the strength of this. So CoreWeave, it'll be on the radar. I usually like when you're gapping in an uncertain area like what we've been talking about here, typically like to look at the key resistance turning into support. I know there's a little wick top at 113.5, but 112 to 111 is where I'd be looking for a dip buy. So yeah, rising tide lifts a lot of ships. In this particular case, both these two names giving CoreWeave the bump that it is sorely needed. That's been a short for weeks now.
Yeah, CoreWeave hasn't been the greatest long, but as you mentioned, it's back now, so that's good. I think maybe we should have bought some of that. That was a good look there. ARM will get. Oh, ARM's at the bottom. Okay, good. I was gonna say we're gonna talk about that one too. I just want to say 37 for a PE is quite expensive. It's not that it's expensive. It's just, it's up there for Microsoft. So that's a little bit of a worry for me on what their valuation is. But again, I bought Palo Alto yesterday that has a higher PE than Microsoft right now. So I don't, I really like the stock, and it's just one of those things where the market just keeps rolling, and it threatens you. It's like, do you really want to buy? Do you want to buy here? It's been up so much, and then do you want to buy here? And then, oh, there's a gap. Okay, well, you don't want to play long the gap, do you? And then, oh, there's a pullback. Well, that's it, man. Microsoft's finished. I don't want to buy this dip. And then, okay, well, heading into earnings, well, look how far away it is from the 50-period moving average. Look how far away it is from the 200-period moving average. Normally, it's supposed to be intact, right? I mean, this 200-period, I don't know why it's not building, but would be just like this. And now look where we are. As a percentage, this is now from 430 up to 550. It's $120 now, $130 away from its 200-period moving average, when typically we're like $10 or $15 away from it, and it's just such an extension on Microsoft, and it just keeps on basically teasing the bulls, when do you want to buy? When do you want to buy? Not now, not now, not now. It just keeps on going up, and then at the same time, the shorts are getting blown out, helping this go to the upside. Now, no one's really going to be short Microsoft unless it's some sort of a hedge or anything like that. But at the, when the earnings come through, this is an earnings-based market right now. I've been saying that for the whole year that the Fed was irrelevant. The street, it's got the Fed wrong the last 2 or 3 years, calling for 6 rate cuts, calling for this, calling for that. At the end of the day, the market's at all-time highs, and the best stocks just keep on going higher. It's not great for the breadth of the market that it's really being led by 4 or 5 names here, because as you're going to see soon, Roblox's a different beast, and the market cap is getting bigger, but it's not affecting the whole market. But when you're talking about Qualcomm is down, there's other names, Robinhood, some of the financials are just hovering around as well. No, everything's okay, but the market, the Nasdaq's up 1.3% again, and it's just, everything keeps going on the back of these big, huge hyperscalers. The market still wants to work out and get higher. So yeah, man, I don't, again, looking for plays, I don't really have one yet on Microsoft. It's gone, and I still shell-shocked that we talked about that Starbucks trade, and it's only reminding me that they can still come down even though they had great quarters. So Microsoft pulling back a little bit here. would make sense just with some profit taking, but also breaking that top also looks great as well. I don't know. It's not very constructive to say, like, I don't have a trade on it, but it's the market.
I think it is.
No, I think it's fine. I don't have a trade on it now. I just, I think it's worth looking at. Starbucks gave it to us yesterday. All these stocks are going to give you plays. It's too hard for us to sit here and predict what the opening 5 minutes is going to look like.
Well, this is the thing, like with Robin, in the case of Hood, it's like, oh, well, you kind of like the quarter, we've seen support at $100 before, so yeah, you have a level that you can kind of dig into. We don't have, you're not going to have that unless you, someone in the chat was saying, look at Fibonacci's or something. If you have some, like I don't use Fibonacci's, so if you have some kind of technical indicator, I was just looking at QBTS for some reason, technical indicator that's going to give you an entry on this thing, where you're going to look at fibs and, you know, I could slap them on if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Like, you could, don't get me wrong, and then try to go dips that way, but that's not something that I've ever done. So I'm going to stay away from that kind of a notion. And that might apply to a certain extent to the next name on the board, which is an even bigger percentage gainer, Roblox just flying, everybody.
Yeah, a little bit of a downtick right now, but up huge on the morning for RBLX. I was just reading through some of the numbers here. I mean, operating cash flow, for one, almost $200 million, up 32% year over year in this latest quarter. Bookings expected to remain strong, reflecting continued user engagement and monetization momentum. Barely a downtick so far this morning here for RBLX.
Yeah, it's like Neil always says there's better or worse than earnings. Even though they're losing money, they're popping up here, Brendo. Revenue came in at $1.44 billion, beating expectations of $1.27. The beat here was driven by surging engagement and monetization across their platform. Their daily active users now hit 111.8 million, which is a 41% year-over-year increase. And the total hours reached, engaged here, 27.4 billion. How is that possible? 58% year-over-year in the usage there. 27.4 billion hours. I mean, I don't understand how that works, but monthly unique players, Brendo, 23.4 million, up 42%. Bookings per monthly payer, up about $20.48 per player, with the average bookings per daily active user now about $12.86. And the CEO here says he attributes the success to investments in infrastructure, and management reiterated their goal to capture 10% of the global gaming market.
Interesting point I was reading this morning, in the sense that small caps really the only ones that care about the Fed at this point. Clearly, like all of these companies that are 100 million, 100 billion and above, firing on all cylinders. I mean, expanding their advertising business. We heard the same from Meta. Microsoft, you can say the same for as well. So, I mean, it's getting to a point where, I mean, what pressure is there on Mr. Powell at this point?
Exactly. The market is not trading like it's in a high rate environment. And that's what the point people have been making.
Yeah, down to one cut, barely, by the end of the year, guys, for the Fed.
And you'll understand that hours number, Sharif, when you look at how kids play Roblox. Like in the summer, we have a neighbor who's a classmate of my daughter, and he'll come over to call on her, knock on the door sometime after dinner. It happens almost every single day, or she'll go over there. And there's one of two things to do. Sometimes they'll play like basketball or soccer outside. If they're inside, they're playing Roblox. That's it. So if they're outside, I might be able to guess which activity inside they're playing Roblox. Maybe they're watching YouTube, but most of the time it's Roblox. And this falls right into the category of like the Microsofts, and like we were just talking about the Microsofts and the Metas in terms of how big the gap is. What you do have here is we're going to have VWAP out in front of us, even though you're at a blue sky setup, right? There's no highs to look at. These are all-time highs that we're speaking of, and the volume-weighted average price sits at about 142. The thing with Roblox is it's not as if, like, that line in the chart doesn't matter. It's going to move within, when it bounces, or if it bounces on a dip, I should say, because you don't want to get locked in that it has to bounce off that area. If it does, it'll be within a dollar range that I'll be looking for an entry. I think today I'm going to want real mean reversions on dips, like bottoming tail candles, let it trend down, get a solid entry that isn't just sit in front of a line on a chart, because things have gapped so far that if they do start to come back in, kind of like yesterday in the afternoon, you had to really wait for things to revert, not just trying to get long in front of a level. So that's going to be the plan of action, and Roblox almost has to be on the list because it outpaced the move by so much.
Okay, I was just checking the account, make sure I still have these, some of these shares. Look, I mean, my exact reason for buying Roblox last year at $30 was for exactly what Neil just said right there. So he just basically, great minds think alike here. I last year, right here, heading into the summer, so this was like into here is where we bought Roblox, even lower, I think, where we were. Yeah, there's the $34 mark. So we're long here in the mid 30s. And again, it was heading in, it was off of this sort of a dump down, heading into the summer. And I had said, we had Michael Noss right on the show as well. He had just had a kid or whatever. And I was telling him like, pretty soon it's gonna be all about Roblox. And we were even making fun of some of the things that they were doing on there, dating and all these fun things that Roblox was trying to do. And it was just like, well, all I know is that the kids are gonna be playing Roblox all throughout the summer, and I wanted to be part of that run up. And when they got back into school is where we wound up getting out of some of it, and it was right near this top, right around $50. So we went from 30, 40, something like that, let's say $37 into 50 and exited out of some of these shares. I don't think we got out right when the summer ended, but there was something in and around here when we got to this top, and we thought we were doing pretty good. Then it made this move, and then it just kept on going, and now Roblox is at all-time highs and breaking through there right now, and we still have 25%. So it's still okay on a trade there, but it's 5x, and it just keeps on going higher. This goes to the point of always play, and I'm gonna say best of breed. I mean, this is online gaming, and when poker was hot and all these kind of things were hot during COVID and everyone staying at home, those sites sort of started to blow up, and then there was many more sites that were sort of copycat sites of poker. I think Roblox has built a huge moat now around the business with the user base that we keep on talking about. Love the stock. Think it continues to go higher again. And yeah, congratulations. Another 17% move there for Roblox. The stock looks like Microsoft. I mean, it's straight up to the upside there on a daily chart. So again, just teasing the longs. Like if you're not long or you want to buy it now, like, I don't know, this thing could be 180 by next week. So Roblox just absolutely performing well. Imbalances are now out. We have lots to talk about. So let's just go over quickly.
Yeah, a couple more to go here real quick. FIGMA, if you haven't seen the website, looks like that. Coming to the NYSE today, FIG going to be the ticker 18.8 billion downside, as we heard this morning from the initial valuation of this thing. Still going to be all kinds of attention on this, though.
Absolutely, Brendo. Good look here. It's going to trade at about, the IPO price, $33 a share. We'll have to see where it opens up. Above the expected 30 to 32, though, the ticker, as you mentioned, FIG, it's going to be listed on the NYSE. They raised about $1.2 billion, with most of the proceeds going to existing shareholders. The total valuation of the company now $19.3 billion, just under that $20 billion acquisition by Adobe that from a few years ago, where FIGMA actually received $1 billion termination fee from them. Here's how they did in the June quarter. They printed either between $247 and $250 million in revenue, which was a 40% bump. Operating results were good as well, and the March quarter revenue grew about 46% year over year. Just to give you some background on the company, was developed or opened back in 2012 by CEO Dylan Field and Evan Wallace. It's headquartered in San Fran with international offices as well, and they're now among the most watched design SaaS firms, Brendo, especially after the failed takeover bid by Adobe. And CEO Dylan Field is the largest shareholder with about 56.5 million shares. But here on your screen are some other top institutional investors: Index Ventures, Greylock, and Kleiner Perkins.
Here's the way ARM is setting up right now, just real quick, probably running out of time here. Day lows, essentially, or session lows right now for ARM. It was the guidance that came in lighter than expected for ARM. Right across the board, though, numbers essentially in line with expectations or thereabouts, but the guidance guy is weak. So definitely the weakest of the group here for ARM.
Market's coming down a little bit.
The handset was, the handset thing was a big issue. As far as FIGMA goes, that 11 million buy-in balance is now 17 million. And now keep in mind, we haven't had a big IPO that is opened before noon. I can't remember the last time one of these opened before noon. So we're probably not even opening on FIGMA until sometime well into the midday show. That said, the plan of action is usually the same. Just take the opening print in front of an even dollar number. If it holds, great, you get a move like circle, and then just play the momentum. After that, you start trading it like you would normally trade. So that's the plan of action there. Like I said, it's 18 million to buy, but there's nothing else. Like Fubo's there for 500,000, the BBAI 200,000. There's no big imbalances, but the Nasdaq did just come in there. Not huge, we're still up 1%. But Robinhood dipped down into 104. So this, like Robinhood down 2%, this could come in to $100 right quick. And then looking at the chip names, only 30 seconds to go. NVIDIA. Oh, NVIDIA already bouncing. NVIDIA with a slight move, but already bouncing off 182.5.
I saw AMD made a bigger move.
Yeah, I was looking at maybe AMD comes in. Oh, AMD's making a bigger move. Okay, AMD in the prior highs could be one of the first things to come in there. AMD dipping, NVIDIA not.
Yeah, so only 20 seconds left right now before this countdown hits, man. Yeah, nice little downside drift there in the Nasdaq. Maybe it's led by Meta here as well. No, Meta and Microsoft both Microsoft a little bit of a drip down here. Okay, with only 6 seconds left, this is brought to you by Beta Pro and Global X. We want to thank you for that as well. Thank you, Adair, for that. Daily levered ETFs. Go check it out, yo. Okay, so we'll watch out for Robinhood here. A little bit move down into 103.50 right now for Robinhood off of what was a pretty good quarter, but not well received. Down 3% right now, and yeah, let the market settle down. Let's just go back over, see what Meta wants to do. And we said that, you know, sometimes we get, you know, really dramatic sort of moves off the open. It doesn't look like Meta's giving us one right now, not like we did in, what's it called, Starbucks yesterday. But it's Microsoft. Here's the pullback in for Microsoft, down $10. Whoa. So there you go. Microsoft down 10 from 560 down to 550, breaking a little bit lower. Finally, when Brendan and Sharif, was there a rundown that we didn't have Tesla on, I feel like, and there it is right now. Right. Tesla not doing too much there today. I guess no story on it, so we don't have to worry, but that could be a break right there of 321. Don't sleep on Tesla. It was a good stock. You know, now it's just losing a little bit of luster as people focusing on other tech plays, obviously, today. So, yeah, I don't mind that.
Didn't affect Tesla?
You know, did we even get to Ford, did we? There today was not on.
With good reason.
Ford was not on the board.
It was not anyone's radar. One name that I'm sure was so much for the volume-weighted average price on Roblox.
Wow, the Nasdaq.
Dude, the Nasdaq's tanking. Roblox is right back up to the high of the day. The Nasdaq, look, if we're pulling back, we thought we could fill in a sizable gap. Roblox to the upside, which is crazy that it's doing that with the market.
Let's try.
Like it is.
I'm going to try the
There's
market.
Meta. I mean, Meta's still falling here, but I'm looking over at the chip names. It's going to likely be NVIDIA or AMD first for me. NVIDIA now 182. We like the 181 level. I don't know which one's coming first. Robinhood 102. That could get to 100 quickly.
I'm long the market here, but I'm not sure anymore. We written down 91.50 for the TQQs here on today's sticky note. So we're long right now at 91.80s, maybe a little bit early. Let's just put another bid down here into this area, and then if it blasts through us, then let's just get out, man, of this trade. What about a break of like 91.35 or so? We'll put some more bids down here closer to our 91.50 marker, and then see what winds up happening. But yeah, right now the market pulling back in, and this is what we said, like sometimes, you know, you have these great earnings, but how great are they exactly if they're just going to get faded out, right? I mean, if you're not in it before, it's tough to be in it right now. Meta's holding up real great, though. So it's not Meta, it's Microsoft right now that's down, and it's not even down that much. You're down about 1.5 points, but that looks like $15 right there. It's Advanced Micro Devices, Neil, that just broke through. We wrote down 181. Thankfully, we canceled that bid. And then
SMC. No,
SMCI as well.
No, SOFI.
Okay.
SOFI
not so good.
SOFI is absolutely blasting
higher
to the upside.
Yeah, okay. They had an offering.
What
of
a
some sort.
huge! They had
some
the
sort
offering.
of a deal with. No, they had some sort of a deal in the pre-market here.
Yeah, there was news on SOFI.
Yeah, I just don't remember what it was.
I
was filling up my water.
I got to try to get that. So as that happened, I think I just
nicely.
missed the curl on NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get AMD back through 180. I just missed NVIDIA on the way up. So I went over, I was watching AMD as well, and AMD is going back through the 180 level, so it just bounced. I'll give it to the low of the day. SOFI, that's a big miss, because we were looking for the continuation on the long in SOFI after yesterday's nice rally, and it goes right off the volume-weighted average price. Maybe we can get something on a dip in the one that is SOFI. NVIDIA, we'll see if we can get it. Meta's about to break the high of the day.
Yeah, okay.
Really?
AMD's the one that's going the other
No,
way.
that's struggling AMD right now.
Yeah, no, I know. So that was a weird one there for me. All right, so just looking at the TQs, I think we can get back up to the 200 period moving average, which is that 92.50. That would be a huge trade, and we'll be happy to take that if it does eventually get back up to that price. 92.50 or so would be a good little level for me. I'm going to take 5% out at 92s here flat, and then put an offer. Where do we just jump to there? What is this price here? Yeah, 92.10. All right, we'll put another 5% there at 92.10. This might not come in, so I don't know. 92.10, another price action spot there for us as well. Let's check out Robinhood again. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you so much for supporting us and for being with us every single day, man. It means a lot to Neil, myself, and the whole team. Robinhood, though, Joe won't like this one, but you got to like Robinhood's action over the last couple months, that's for sure, but not today, as it comes falling back into that 101 area. I'm still going to wait for 100 and try to be as patient as possible with that. Again, you know, a name that I'm still trying to deal with is Costco. I haven't bought that name yet. That's actually going lower a little bit here today as well. So, oh, wow, it had that. Okay, well, it spiked up there. I just saw it pushing a little bit there, but still, Costco worth buying maybe at these levels. Netflix, another name that's been hit recently, could be worth buying if we get some more drop down. I just saw someone say Netflix tank, and yes, it did make that move down. We got a little more reloaded there. It's not even a reload. We're adding to our position. We just bought some 82s right there. Remember, if this breaks 91.50 or so, we're going to be out of this play. So watch out for this coming back in. It's the futures right now, and they're not healthy right here, Neil. You got long AMD. That would be the one
back in. So I already had one shot in AMD. Oh, I just missed Robinhood. I'll get to Robinhood in a quick little second, but I got to keep it on AMD. It wicked me out and then held 179.5, so I'm back at the 180 level there. Like the market, as we said, like the market is dropping in heavily. That's just how it is sometimes at the open when everything gaps up really far. I might have just missed Hood. It bounced off 101. What stock did this happen to the other day?
I had 101.
This happened to, what was the stock?
I'm sitting at $100.50.
Yeah, where you're sitting in front of 100 and it bounces off the 01 instead, because why not? That's why the market hates you sometimes.
Was it Apple or Tesla? I think it might have been Tesla. It was Tesla on earnings. They went down to like 301, 302.
And we're sitting there waiting at the even dollar and don't get it. So there's AMD just showing you that it had made a low. I got wicked out, saw the buyers immediately jump back in to the 180 level. But look at this. We get to 180 half, right back into the lows.
Yeah, the market's
the market's still looking relatively weak. You got to be kidding me. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to look over, and that's not even moving. Intel's not moving. What did I like for short on my note?
I don't have anything. That's why I was just looking at it.
I was looking at PayPal for a continuation short, but
Maybe
that already
Robinhood.
dropped $1 and is right back to the top, so that's not the one.
Robinhood's still there, man. 101.50. If you like that stock, you could definitely grab some Robinhood.
It might break the lows.
Yesterday's Fed wasn't that eventful. And maybe that's part of this right now. You know, you get that bump up. All right, so we just got filled down low side now on the TQ. So now our average price is 67. So let's, again, see if we could take something out in the high 70s, just so we're not like just sitting here and not doing anything. So we'll take, okay, there it is. We get some 74s there. Hopefully we get, I also offering 76s. We always try to sit around these 75 levels. But yeah, right now we're long. It's my first position, long futures battling. And at least it's a level that we had written down. So, you know, we're here on that level. 91.50 was on our sticky note. I was just trying to play off of yesterday's little bump up there. We saw this action, you know, off of earnings, a little bit of a bounce, and then obviously the extension there into the morning with Microsoft and Meta helping that go. So good trade. Okay, you got a good AMD level there, I think. Hood is still at that $100 mark. I'm bidding $100.50. So that did come close. We might have to move it up.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Robinhood, I'm watching this 101. It got down to 101.25, and then they bought it right back into 102. There's no real, like I can go to a 1-minute chart for everybody. This will be way easier for you guys to see on a 1-minute chart.
NVIDIA's
like it came right to that 102, and you're seeing it get held at 101.33, let's call it. So I'm going to try and nibble on this. I mean, the market's still heading to the downside, but if we're going to get anything out in front, this 100 level, oh, come on. You just bid at 50 and it bounces off 60. Oh, yeah, liquidity is so much fun right now. So you just saw that bounce off 101.5. Again, Robinhood just being tricky on us.
Everything's tanking.
No, but what's insane about this is we were just bouncing nicely on AMD, and we're right back into the lows. all the while, Meta is through the high of the day.
Oh, what? Oh, man, I just tapped out by accident.
Meta is through the high of the day and still going. So the thing that got us here is not dumping whatsoever. But everything else is. Our sympathy plays are not being overly sympathetic.
Yeah, it's about a good call.
I don't know. It's one of those markets where apparently you could have just been long Meta. So hopefully this bounce is a little bit better here on AMD. But all we're doing is consolidating off of these lows, and there's not a lot of green candles. I didn't wait long enough, I don't think, because I should have waited for it to run the bottom that first time. But Hood, I'll try to get in front of 101. I already missed one dip buy, and I'd rather catch it as it's bouncing on the way back up, even if it means missing it a couple times.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on all of this right now. I mean, it's kind of the same talk for me. And it's just like we just had NVIDIA down there, and I was like, oh man, we got stopped out. Not stopped out, I put the wrong stop in. So we wound up taking a quick profit on NVIDIA dip buying, but now I'm back into this name right here at 181. This is what we wrote down, so we do want to try it. Here it comes in, so we're gonna go, if this breaks 180, 60s or so, I'm gonna be out of NVIDIA. We just got a nice piece down there, so we could take something out if it does continue to rip higher right now. But you know, the way this market is acting, Neil, I'm not so sure where we want to go from here. So yeah, this is why we're very, very cautious off the open today. The market was up 1.3%, right? And there's a nice little dip down right there. So we're long right now. 96 is on NVIDIA. Looks like it wants to go upside. So we'll just take another piece out here in the teens and wait to see. I was just offering, there we go. We're offering 26s. Okay. So now we're starting to make a little bit of money here on NVIDIA. As there it goes. Yes, sir. A nice trade for me there on NVDA. So just trying to buy a little bit of those dips. I feel like it could still turn around for us. So we'll take out another piece right there. But yeah, it's definitely not doing those blast offs that we've seen in the past there. The Nasdaq in a little bit of trouble here. And I think that's the only name that I saw that was going was, you know, dramatically is this Microsoft, other than some of these chip names.
No, Meta's strong. Oh, you mean the downside?
Yeah, to the downside. Yeah, Meta's the one sort of helping this market go. We're stuck on the Nasdaq right now. We've got a couple pieces out on the upside, but for right now, this trade is flat and NVIDIA's well up. NVIDIA's now 50 cents and rocking right here. We still have 85% of this trade on.
Yeah, good look. I had just gotten out of AMD when it started to bounce, and Robinhood's going to be the one that got away. There's no question about it. We were like, it's insane. Like, you saw me miss a bit at 101 and a half live. It's now at 103 and a half and still churning to the upside. The other names, so SOFI, SMCI is starting to go through the volume weighted average price, so I jumped over, wanted to be able to catch that relative strength in SMCI. I keep on saying SOFI for SMCI, but relative strength in SMCI. SOFI, which I now mean to go to, is holding exactly at the volume weighted average price as this market bounces. So if it can close holding it again, I'm going to take a shot. Something that is relatively strong at the moment while the market was bleeding. I'd rather jump over there while everything else settles down. Adara, what do you have for us?
Yeah, just get ready here for at 9:45. We'll be getting Chicago PMI. That's going to be in a couple minutes. We don't have any numbers at 10 a.m., so that's the only intraday economic number we're going to get, other than, of course, the pre-market prints. Also, Cycine Biomedical here, PBM. This is small cap with about a $3.85 million market cap, so just under $4 million market cap, announcing that they achieved a breakthrough in GMP-aligned high-purity ibogaine production. So nice scientific breakthrough here for PBM. Good push to the upside, though they are not yet at their pre-market high. Back to you. I'll see you guys at 9:45 for the Chicago PMI.
That's right.
So 3 minutes away from now. All right, so we're just milking the one trade that we have there with the TQs. I want to thank everybody for joining us one more time here today. You know, we do have over 10,000 right now watching. It was a good, or we did. Let me see. Oh yeah, see, every time I got to reload that and so we can watch it. Yeah, 10,300, man. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. The only way to get involved with this chat is to do that. So make sure that you're there with us right now watching these crazy markets fly around. All right, so Robinhood's a big talk of the town there on the chat for sure. Wow, what a great call that was on the dip buy opportunity. But again, both of us wrote down $100. It's right here on this sticky note. We talked about trying to dip buy this name. It looks like it wants to work. Oh, shoot, that reminds me of Bull. We wanted 1430 on Webull. That was the a high. So again, and letting it settle down, it's not doing anything right now, Webull. So let's just let that calm down just a little bit right now. Only up 1.18%. Starbucks, I did have a look at $90 again there. I was bidding $90.50, so we do miss that one. Starbucks on a day 2 play, that's nicely moving. Now to the upside, we can look at some uranium names. SMR always seems to be doing something anyways. Okay, here we go. The Nasdaq's about to drop out for me, so I'm getting out if this breaks 39 is what I thought. 34s, sorry. So yeah, not healthy right now. There it goes. This market continues to go lower. So although we're going to be out in just momentarily here once that breaks 34, which is right now. So there it goes, man. We will slap a fail on it. We were able to get out of some of them, but we did wind up holding 2/3 of that trade for that stop out down there as we broke lower. So NVIDIA right now back testing the level that I thought I liked. So let's just buy a little bit more down here into the 80s if we can. Right now we're long at 85, so we just missed that dip buy opportunity again. Just silly because I was looking at the futures and should have been looking over here at NVDA right now. But yeah, the market does not want to go higher right now, it doesn't look like. We get stopped out near the bottom, but with numbers coming right now, it'll be interesting to see where this market goes. So let's go over to Adara. 30 seconds left. Chicago PMI.
In here, Chicago PMI is going to be the only intraday piece of economic data, so we don't have anything coming through here at 10 a.m. Chicago PMI forecast 42, previous 40.4, so we are expecting a month-over-month increase here. It's worth noting earlier today, of course, at 8:30 a.m., we did get PCE and core PCE. This was mostly harder than expected for the year-over-year prints and then in line for the month-over-month prints. Just 3 seconds down until we get that Chicago PMI again. Forecast of 42, actual print coming in here at 47.1. So Chicago PMI decently above expectations here. Nasdaq chopping a little bit, making a bit of a bounce off that 471.50, but still very much pushing lower on the day. Here is the S&P 500 looking kind of similar, though bouncing a bit better perhaps than the Nasdaq. Again, no 10 a.m. number, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, that's right. No 10 a.m. number, but
Right.
no bid on AMD. It tried again
Same
off
thing's happening with
179,
NVIDIA.
and you've just lost a bid. You know what? If it's not a strong stock, shouldn't even be trying.
Everything just got clobbered.
And look, SOFI is holding the volume-weighted average price. That's at least doing something bullish. The only stocks I'm looking at are all bearish except for SOFI and Meta.
Wow, AMD's
and
getting
in Meta, I
crushed.
wasn't even planning on it, but so SOFI is at least showing you something to the upside. Everything else is looking incredibly weak and just going to have to let these things level off a little bit. AMD's, when we sat down to open the show, AMD and NVIDIA were the same price, effectively. Now AMD is like $3 lower. So at least there's some relative strength in NVIDIA, but the chips are getting absolutely shellacked. And that brings me to like CoreWeave, which was, again, a sympathy play you might think is dumping. It's holding the volume-weighted average price. So it's holding some higher lows in this weakness in the market. It's not as strong as SOFI in the chart, but at least it's not dumping at this point. So the real money, I mean, look, the money is in Meta at the high of the day, effectively at all-time highs as we speak. And I'm looking for what else might be strong as well. I mean, we know we like some Robinhood, but
I just shorted everything. I flipped everything.
This is like Robinhood. I'm going to slap the ultimate fail. Robinhood's at 105. Robinhood gets green without a single trade. It's going to be a big disappointment there. But great bounce off 100. We like the quarter, and we were looking for the dip buy, but it doesn't matter if you don't get it.
I'm going to try just to flip up the opinion a little bit here and hold on to some shorts now. We broke through 181. We were looking at 181. We tried to defend it a bunch of times. The best it got up was 181.80. Those were great trades there. I should have took more advantage of that for sure, because we had, we had written down and saw sort of the decline here in AMD today has been pretty dramatic to the downside, right? What goes up must go down at some point, and AMD, if it ever gets a bad report in the chip space, just because of, not that this is a bad name, it's not, it's just where it's come from pretty huge. So I could see steam coming out of it, but maybe steam gets right back in, especially if this market starts to blast. So, the short we had, obviously we had it, we're in it right now. If this breaks through 180.25 right here, I'm gonna get out of that trade so it doesn't look like, so funny because we get thrown around on this trade here again, and now we're caught short, which might hit us here, but we're not putting in a lot of shares here until we get some confirmation on what this move is. FIGMA IPO coming today. Okay, well, here it goes. Now we're going to get blasted out. There it is. Not big L, but an L right there on NVIDIA as we tried to average into the short again. Right now, just a little bit like, have to be in a wait and see kind of mode right now because we were long NVIDIA and liked it until the market turned it around on us. So yeah, there go. Wow, darn, man. I could have just hit the buy instead of the short. But yeah, NVIDIA now ripping back to the upside. It's been just a little bit of an up and down day there. I've only traded 2 names. We're short the Qs and we were just short NVIDIA, but that did not work. All right, let's go hear a word from our sponsor.
Well, with moves like this, I know our savvy Canadian traders that are looking to boost their exposure are going to want to tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro's 3 times daily leverage ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. The aim is to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. So whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Scan the QR code for more information if you want it. And like I said, like buying the dip on AMD, like it's doing it, it's bouncing now, but ultimately it's trending down. I'll look to try to catch something which is trending up if I want to be long. That's why I went over to SOFI. Robinhood, like I said, is a bit frustrating. CoreWeave looked like it was good, but I wasn't really seeing an entry point on it. So VWAP is now held 3 or 4 times on SoFi. It just hit the highs and is continuing to go. There's still a sizable gap to get to about 23.60 on SoFi and then up to 24. If I had to guess, I actually think SoFi is only up because Robinhood's quarter was good and because it got sold off. So it's like it's bouncing, and then Hood's strong earnings. By the way, they were good earnings.
Yep.
Might have dragged it up there. But look at this candle Robinhood's putting in on the 15-minute. That's a pretty bullish candle. So I want to stick with SoFi, find somewhere reasonable to get into Robinhood, though. Yeah, that's it looks like it's about to turn.
Now we tank.
Okay, I have to go over to the name that's like
now
not even trying to go up when the market's bouncing. Intel was one that I wanted short, and then the other one was PayPal that I wanted short.
Oh, okay.
So that was off I was thinking more off 71, but it's now double top tapping 70. This is down consecutive days after earnings. It's a day 3, not day 2 play, but as it presses into 70, I wanted 71s, but it's not getting there first. We're gonna get to 70 first. I'm gonna take my shot. Bit of a mean reversion trade here as well if it can put in a lower high.
Yeah, we were just, okay, so the market's going to make its way back up, I guess, right now. So we were just able to make a little bit back there on NVIDIA on this kind of a short. It just cracked through 181 again to the downside. So that started to work short for us. We're going to wait for that 181.50 to break because we just took some profits out right there on the short. So, but it looks like it does want to pump higher off of those lows. So we might have mistakenly been hitting the short a little too aggressively right here, right now. So, okay, we're gonna wait. We're still short the Nasdaq as well. That's trying to pull back in. We're short at 45 here, but it's testing this top and looks like it wants to break out as well back upside. I was hoping that we'd get a little bit of a pull back in down to these lows because we're just underneath everything, but maybe we're just getting a little too excited as per usual here and jumping the gun on this short just a little bit right now. We have natural gas storage coming up at 10:30. That's not huge today. I mean,
Unblocked.
Could be. Okay, FIGMA's ready to go now.
Well, that
so
can't be right.
yeah, I was just looking at Tesla. If that can come back into the downside, that might be something. We already looked at that 321 today. Maybe there's a play there, maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. I got to be back into a little bit more patient mode here as we go. Robinhood's what, probably 106 right now or so. Yeah, good level there for Robinhood as that looks like it wants to just keep on going higher. And there's the stop out again on the futures as it's blasted through these levels. So it looks like the dip buy was the right play. Time to wait now. Maybe view up at 92 to 92.50, but I still feel a little short. This market right here, it's only 9.52, and in the face, it's tough to go short for sure in the face of Microsoft and Meta and some of these big numbers that came through today. Meta's near the high of the day again as well. So yeah, NVIDIA sort of ate our lunch there a little bit. As it's too bad because 181 was a long. It's just we were there initially. Look at this long. Good, short, not good. So yeah, back in there today. 24,000 for the Nasdaq would be a nice level. I just saw someone say that in the chat. Yeah, Figma's going to be huge.
You want locates on it?
No, I don't want locates. Okay. I'm not going to go short.
I'm just doing them now.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad that's back in. I'm going to put my order in to get long that name.
Yeah, so remember with Figma, everybody, the last few times, we have not seen a major IPO open before noon in, well, I mean, it's been years. So like, I'm pretty sure it's before the last, before my daughter's birth. So it's at least a decade, I'm guessing, like 8, 9, 10 years. FIGMA's buy-in balance is now up to 26 million shares.
Wow.
So it's 40 times oversubscribed, and the buy-in balance, it's currently indicating 33, but it's not going to open anytime soon, so that doesn't even matter. So mine got rejected, and Obi's is, yeah, okay. I'll
try again.
Yeah, I'll have to try that again. It's weird. Like, I just didn't get locates. I'm not getting locates on Figma to go short the open. I just like having them in the back pocket in case. It's just more of a safety thing for me and preparedness. But yeah, the market is doing a pretty decent bounce here. What I like is that lower high is getting put in on PayPal, so as it tries to get back into VWAP, I'll have one bid there. I will predictably have a bid as well out in front of the prior low. And someone was like, oh, but PayPal looks like a long. I don't disagree on the 3-minute chart there, but the idea is the structure of continuation the last couple of days. If it had popped in and reverted at 71 to 71.5, fair, but with it holding the pre-market lows or resistance, that's where I'm playing off of. So I'm just playing that level. If it breaks, I'm willing to jump back into 71, 71.5. SOFI it just tagged 23.5, so it filled in that part of the gap. Next shot, hold for 24 and see if it can get all the way as far as the 24 level. It's an obvious area of resistance. Like look at the acceleration down when it lost 24 2 days ago. So that's an obvious spot of resistance for SOFI. And can do what? Sorry, my mic is an issue again.
Oh, is it? I don't know. I didn't hear anything in my head.
Apparently, if I massage the mic, it gets better. I don't know. We'll see if that ends up working. So SOFI up 7.5%. But remember, this is still well off of the highs on earnings day one. It got up to 25. Hopefully, it can get halfway there up to 24.
Okay. All right, so for me, it's kind of the same story here. Trying to short the Nasdaq. We did have some decent stories to talk about today. We actually didn't even look to see what ARM was doing here early on. Was down early, and I didn't want to say down until I saw it. But there's so here's a stock that got hit on earnings that continued to get hit right off the open. So this kind of reminds me a little bit of Starbucks. I didn't really go through the ARM quarter, but this has come right back into the 50 period moving average again, and looking a little weak there for ARM here into the open. So watch out, 200 period 138 and change. You know, yesterday we bought some Palo Alto. I have no idea what this is doing today. I assume it's up because of the market, but no, it's not. So we bought some Palo Alto yesterday at 180, and look what this move happened here right off the open as well. So that just gets hit now downside on Palo Alto. The one stock was Uber that we've been looking short the last little while. It's still at its 87.50 marker. It hasn't done a whole heck of a lot right here recently as well. So that's Uber, waiting for robo-taxi news, waiting for everything. The futures there today now starting to get back upside a little bit. That was a really decent dump in. I thought the market maybe wanted to cool off just a little bit here heading into what's going to be another big earnings bonanza tonight with
you might get your wish.
Amazon,
Microsoft,
and Apple. Microsoft's going to break lower finally. I mean, I think that's good for the Nasdaq short, but right now the Nasdaq is rocking right now back up to the upside. Are we at a breaking spot now over there?
Well, not the Nasdaq. Microsoft is at a bit of it's a breaking spot in that it's about to take out the low of the day here, 538. Ish. It just wicked the bottom and is trying to reverse. This is distinctly different from what we're seeing in Meta. Both huge quarters and both fantastic. Meta tried to dump and they're just buying it right up. So you can see what's in favor right now, and it is very clearly going to be Meta over Microsoft. Look, not to talk, and we're trying to look. I'll try to look at everything, not to only talk about the names that are reported. Alphabet. That's one heck of a candle right at the open. When you talk about sell programs or someone just dumping into the opening auction, my goodness, did it also happen in Google. But just bought right back up twice at 92. Alphabet looks really bullish here, breaking through, looking at higher lows on Alphabet. So relative to some Microsoft breaking that low, nice rebound here in Microsoft. Good rebound in the chips, but at least a couple of Mag 7 names holding up really well here that aren't chip names. Man, it's absolutely crazy that this is how crazy the market is, that I'm only now looking at Roblox again. 16% to the upside. and just barely holding on to the volume weighted average price. Not nearly as bullish as it was in the pre-market. I'm not really falling in love with any Roblox trade. Let's let this one pick a direction. I'm not seeing anything that gives me a trade. And there goes Robinhood.
Where? Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh, maybe Webull then.
yeah.
No, Webull's not doing anything.
Robinhood, we all like,
Robinhood's
everyone was
world.
like, there's going to be a dip buy. In the aftermarket show, everyone's like, where do we dip buy this because the quarter was good? And the answer was apparently $101 and not 100. And I think it's one of those, if your stop is going to be at 100 and you want to get in under 101, then just get an amount of shares above 101 that allows you to wait, get more closer to 100, and then have the same average price. If you're intending on like a 100.5 average price, you can buy 101.20s and then buy 100.20s for like 2 times and get the same amount of shares and have relatively the same risk and at least be in the trade. And you wouldn't be full lot in, but at least you'd be long the stock that you wanted to dip buy. So Hood's off to the races. I'm really, at this point, just hoping it continues to drag SoFi up with it, because as far as I'm concerned, the only reason why SoFi is going is because of the quarter from Robinhood. Was there a catalyst on SoFi this morning?
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I gotta, I'll look for it. I thought it was only up because of Robinhood.
No. There was a.
Oh no, you're right.
Some sort of a catalyst this morning.
Yeah, SoFi raised
1.73 billion through
Hey-o.
public offering.
Yeah.
Studio 8's about to happen right now. Right here. We'll get those lights fixed up. Let's go to Adara.
Dark mode
we might not be able to go to Adara, so we could just stay here. Stay here, Andre, and then we'll get it figured out. And once we do, then we'll throw back over to Miss A. All right, the market is, okay, there it is. That was fast. The market is coming back down a little bit here. I'm going to take advantage of that move down right now and take out some of these TQQs. Finally, something's starting to print for your boy over here. It's the TQs and the Nasdaq short. Hey, Darkness. What's up, Adara? What you got over there?
Darknesses.
I just wanted to add as well, SoFi also got a price target increase this morning from Mizuho from $20 to $26, so it's another catalyst for SoFi. But yeah, lately what we've seen is once these companies, when they announce the offerings, they go down. When they announce the completion of the offerings, for whatever reason, they go back up. Here is the Nasdaq, as you guys can see here, tanking on the first 15-minute candle, second 15-minute candle. We try to stabilize. Right now, we're in a bit of an indecision zone. S&P 500, last time I checked, looking fairly similar to the SPY, I would say, is making slightly more volatile moves to the point where we actually made a new high of day, intraday anyway, on the second 15-minute candle. So interesting stuff here, but discrepancies between the index. Microsoft, though, making no highs days right now, despite the new all-time highs we made post-market and at open. This company actually beating here on EPS and sales. Better than expected guidance, but right now selling off that really strong post-market move. Then we have Roblox, another day one earnings play that gapped up and pushing a little bit lower. They announced, I guess, a EPS miss here, larger than expected loss per share, but their sales were a beat and they actually raised their guidance for the fiscal year. Here is Amazon, AMZN, this name on watch tonight with earnings along with Apple. And if you like crypto plays, Coinbase, Riot, and MicroStrategy, or now known as Strategy, triple whammy. They're all reporting after the bell as well. Check it out with Sean, myself, and I believe Sharif for another earnings party. But stay here with us for now for the rest of this awesome trading day, and hit the like and the subscribe to join us every day. Back to you.
Exactly. Join us every single day here.
Thank you very much, Dara.
I can't hear that. I don't even have that button. I know what it is when you
Everyone
push
can
it.
hear it, but it's too quiet for us. I know everyone can hear that one, but the thank you, Dara, is my new favorite key.
All right,
So we're going to keep hitting it. But with the crypto names moving higher, I got to acknowledge that includes PayPal. So I was thinking of adding when it rejected the high and is coming back in, but I'm not going to do it because everything in the space is going higher. Now it's fintech more than crypto, but if it's being dragged by those names, fair enough. I did that thing where if Intel fails at the open, you short it at the volume weighted average price. So that's just a pattern that's been happening every day till this doesn't continue to pop and drop. You just sort of take what you can take out of it, which is fair. But this move up in Hood, 108 now you're seeing, it's absolutely spectacular. But what's also squeezing
108.
is, oh my goodness, Mr. Tileman. $70 on HIMS.
What?
Absolute squeeze fest. Another, was more than 7% yesterday, so I can't say another 7%, but another squeeze on HIMS. At this point, HIMS has a really good chance to bust out the high at 73, which is wild. If you had said that when they that Novo little breakup, I don't think many people would have thought that to be true. I certainly didn't believe it, and a lot of people didn't believe in Hood, and it's going anyways, and a lot of people didn't believe in HIMS, and it's going anyways, and I'm sure a lot of people don't believe in CVNA, Carvana.
And it's going anyways, probably.
22%, $409. It doesn't matter what you think. Carvana is a monster. This, from its lows, is one of the most obscene things that I think I have ever seen.
The Blue Jays got Shane Bieber for prospect. Call Steven. K-H.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
No, that's...
K-H. Yeah, Bieber used to be pretty fire. Is he still good?
I mean, compared to the starters that we have,
Yeah, we got him right there, yeah.
I mean, he's not,
pitching
he used to be a
prospect,
Cy Young
call
guy.
Steven.
I'll take that.
Yeah, so there
I'll
it is.
take that.
Oh, recovering from Tommy John.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he only has minor league starts, I guess, recovering from
Well, yeah.
30-year-old Cy Young winner in 2020.
Well, look, man, I'll 100% will take that.
There you go. Yeah.
I'll never get him in
More
fantasy.
More arms.
Because the guy that has him in our fantasy league is almost as big of a J fan as I am. But I'm always going to say there, so glad we did not try to reload in PayPal because that just broke out. But this is Carvana on a weekly chart. This stock had a $1 price target and got underneath $5. It's now 400 in 2 years. And it's not even two, it's more like a year and a half. You could have got that return. Complete and utter insanity. This stock. And it's just squeezing people right now. So at the end of the day, the ride is the ride. It looks like it's all of fintech going off of this Robinhood. I bet you Coinbase is blasting as well. It should be, right? No, it's not. Coinbase, it's 385 on Coinbase. Of course it's not blasting yet because 385 on Coinbase has been a problem the last few days. Someone is holding the offer at $385 on Coinbase for a couple of days now, as you can obviously see. So this needs to just, once it gets through 85, maybe you just take an 86 break might be too tight. But if Coinbase can get through the 85 seller, I don't see a reason why it shouldn't be blasting even higher. But, the market's kind of turning in here. I went to like the weakest thing I could find, which is usually the case. But I'm also starting to think trend out on SOFI. At some point, like we're getting to 24, at some point, I think this is going to revert that trend. And when it does, I'm jumping right out. You get the extended move off the volume weighted average price. We lose the trend line. Although that's, I hate when it makes a new candle right as I'm drawing the trend line because it kind of screws it up. But if we break, I can eyeball it. If we break underneath 23, like 70-ish, that is a break of trend, and I'm moving my trail.
Okay, I was looking to go short AMD if we got up into this 181.25. We literally got to 23s there, and then it fell back in. I'm actually at 29, sorry. So we did miss the AMD short, but I was just thinking about this into like this 181.50 or so area. That is the 50-period moving average right there. And, we broke it. There's a decent level at 182. Just thinking about the short, it's... I don't know why I'm thinking like that. We covered a good part of our futures trade right there, made some money back off of that trade, off of VWAP, so that came right back in. But look at the support levels. This is why we just keep buying those areas. I mean, I guess we're not going to get that tank. Maybe the AMD short, maybe we'll limit a little bit of that exposure on that one right there because the market just bounced off of it. I felt better thinking the market was coming back in because we do have AMD and the market right now at VWAP. I mean, shorting, okay, well, now we're short. So I got to get back into AMD and good over here and discuss this quickly because we just got a nice pull there at 29 and it made a move back and I didn't do anything about it. So let me put some cover down here now in the teens if we can. Okay, well, we get a 12 there. So nice move back in as it falls back. We're still bidding. Okay, well, see, this is what I mean. I get into position and then it just doesn't really continue for me. So we're going to scalp out a little bit. I think we just got some 6s there, which turns out to be okay there on a little bit of a pullback in for AMD. So trying to use 181.50 or so as our out, and we just got a good price on that. So maybe we can get just a little bit lower here here on advanced, there we go. I mean, just keep on getting these 10s over and over and over again. So we'll just keep doing that. But looking for a little bit of a flush down. AMD has been weak today, and there it is. So, you know, we'll put some bids out, get a little bit out. But yeah, I don't know. If we can get back into this 60 or 70 marker there, 180, 60, 180, 70, then take something there. But it looks like it wants to hold through 181 right now. Okay, nice little move down. All right, here we go. So we'll take a little bit of a play there off of AMD. We're out of half of that now, but look at this thing just whip and ride here. It's crazy. Like, it was just at 80. It was just almost stopped me out. Now there it is. Now we get O's on this trade. So wow, man, market is fun, but market is also stressful. And that's what I'm realizing right now. I mean, I should be realizing that already 25 years in, but yeah, just up and down, right? Take your profits, I feel like, especially if you're playing the shorts. Now this is still a raging bull market, and shorting a stock like an AMD or even the futures like I'm in right now, dangerous proposition that is for sure. Like, look at that. We were just covering it at 181. Now it's at 181.30. And like I said, in the game that we play here, 30 cents moving in like 20 seconds. In 5 seconds is a lot, and you got to have your stop orders out and also your take profits out. So reward yourself for being right, and don't try to be too stubborn on the trades now, because you could have something and then the next thing you know, it's gone. So, you know, here we go. Like right now, here goes the futures. We're going to get stopped out at 181.50. So again, like, look, a flat trade, it looks like now on AMD, and then it comes right back in again. So take the profits where they're there. Have your stop orders out, man. The frustration continues as the market just trying to figure itself out. Just hasn't really moved too excitingly there to the downside since that first initial bump lower. So we'll stay on the short, but pretty close to getting stopped out of some of these names right there again. I mean, 66%. We talked about an increase, a decrease in breadth because of the Nasdaq really ripping up there today, but still 66% of the S&P 500 companies are above their 200 period moving average. So that's great for strength in the market. You know, most stocks, again, 2/3 of every stock in the S&P 500 above their 200 period moving average. So I think that's a positive sign.
It's a very impressive number. That said,
I like that number.
I mean, today we did a bit of a dump. A couple of people have asked in the chat about these halts, specifically this SLXN, which seemingly is now past 10 minutes. So the first thing you should do if there's a stock halted and you're wondering what's going on is you can go to like NASDAQtrader.com. Is a pretty easy website. It has NASDAQ and New York stocks, so don't worry about it. As long as it's in the U.S. market, you're good to go and you're locked and loaded. The quote resumption time was 9:55:59. So obviously, because this is still halted from what I can tell, this is now deep into its halt. And when it's past 10 minutes, I mean, every 5 minutes, look to see if it opens again. But it's done 35,000 shares. So my strong guess would be the volume is so low and it's so illiquid that they have to get some kind of an organized open, and it could take some time. The more illiquid the stock is, then the harder it is. It's just like, as I say that, it opens back up and it's going to instantly halt here at 17.25. Like, there's just no liquidity on this thing. Like, the volume went from 35,000 to 85,000. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. If FIGMA only did this kind of volume when it opens up, none of us would trade it, even though this is going up. Because what are you supposed to do when there's literally no volume in something like that? So I'm going back over to, shouldn't have been on the front end of the trade. Acknowledge it. When 70 broke, I got out. And I even said, should look for mean reversion trades. Well, a mean reversion trade, same price, same area that you want to get out, different time of entry. Time of entry can matter just as much as your price, right? Like, same price, I'm getting the same area that we had in PayPal before, but I'm getting it after it's broken the trend line. It goes to VWAP, and then the same plan, and then down to like 69 1/3 will be the next level. Like I said, I went over to Intel just because of the pattern that it's been doing. Same old. We'll short it in front of VWAP until it decides that it's not respecting that level anymore, and then just try to hold it through a 20 break, potentially. The market it's not going to have a chance if Meta loses the volume weighted average price, because Meta was the strongest thing, one of the strongest things off the open, going right back into all-time highs of 785. It's pulling back in pretty nicely here. And SOFI, trailed out of SOFI. I told you guys if it broke underneath that 70 area, that's where the trail out would be. So all done with SOFI. Unless I see some kind of an obvious bounce a little closer to VWAP, I'm not rushing to get back into this. Up 8%, that's pretty good. But I feel like that was all on the back of Hood. And Robinhood's pulled back pretty heavily as well.
Oh boy, we get a good one there as the Nasdaq finally comes back in just a little bit for us, and it was like, thank God that happened there. I mean, we have too many shares to reload, honestly. I mean, we haven't made some like great calls there today, so just sitting back, waiting for something to happen, sipping on some coffee, and just kind of like reading up on some notes. We will be having Kevin O'Leary coming through around that 10:45 marker right there today, so that should be something exciting to talk about with him. We'll see what he thinks about interest rates moving forward, and just some fun stuff there with Kevin, so that should be pretty good there. Meme stock trading volumes have declined 30 to 90% over the last 2 weeks, so some of the bigger movers, like a Big Bear AI, we've seen Open Door. I sort of came back from vacation and all the talk was Open Door, costs, things like that. Some of the volume decreasing in there. I mean, Big Bear AI was doing 200+ million shares a day. Now it's chilling at 18 million. Open Door, something very, very similar as well. And this just goes to show you, like, don't ever, look, it's not that don't ever think. I mean, we're going to have, I'm leading this into Carvana, basically, which is huge. But it's like some of these names, they come up with predictions. People get excited about them. They hit all the boards, Reddit, whatever, Yahoo Finance, or wherever everyone's looking for all these things. And then all of a sudden, when the steam comes out, there's some bags being held at some point. And I don't think Open Door is a failing business, although their numbers might tell you opposite. With no interest rate cuts coming through here, the housing market, probably not as attractive now over the next 6 months as it might have been if those rates had come down. Regardless of what you think about the stock market, Open Door would have liked to see, I believe anyways, more positive rate talk there. So if you're just talking macro and you say you stay away from sort of the volume spikes that we've seen in these things, I think Open Door does have room to get back down to the downside right there. But the same guy, Eric Jackson, I believe it was, made the same call there. And this is why, from the fame, Carvana right there. And when this was down at $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, this was a name that he was like, well, look, man, the business is still intact. He gave a bull case for them. And I don't exactly remember all the statistics for Carvana back then, but this went from $6 to where it is today, $410. And people thought, well, buying cars in vending machines might be hot during COVID, right? And that was, part of the call. But if you look back here and you go over a monthly chart right now, Carvana, we're well above now. Who thought that this was going to go from 350? I remember laughing, we're like, Carvana, it's never going to get back to those valuations.
I never thought.
I don't think anybody thought that. We went from 380. I mean, look at Peloton, look at so many names, an Upstart, some Affirm, things like that. Now those stocks have very wild swings as well. But Carvana, this is a monthly chart. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It went down every month for a year. All right, and now, big turnaround story, and it bounces at the IPO price. So, I mean, maybe it probably was a SPAC actually, because that looks like it's about $10.
Was it?
But, I don't know. But 2017, there wasn't too many SPACs going through. But, there's the move up there. There's us getting excited as none of us want to go in and talk to those nice sales guys because we're sick of getting killed by some virus. And then all of a sudden, all the way down and then all the way back up until the point where we remember, I think that's one of the best things that's happened with COVID. The fact that now there is, and I mean, look, we're here, we're personalities on the show. I think we're pretty personable guys to begin with. And I think, attending, talking to people and things like that is a benefit for society as a whole. I love going to, going to the dealership. I go in there for fun sometimes. I like to talk to those guys.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing that's come from COVID, I think, is the change and the ability to do business remotely, talking with, you don't rarely go in to see people for meetings anymore. A lot of them are done on Teams.
Never buy, you should never say never. But I don't think I'd ever want to buy a vehicle without going in and test driving it and talking. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just way too old fashioned, and I probably am. I get it. I don't know. I just don't know that I could. Not for a car, man.
I think it's more about buying. No, I agree with you. I mean, that's
with you guys.
Kevin.
Uh-oh.
We're getting, so
I don't want to get called a cockroach.
I've
Cockroach.
asked the guys over there. Fabian's getting it ready though because the volume. I'm showing him that baby thing.
Yes.
So get ready for the reaction there when he's coming through. I want to talk to him about that. He keeps talking about like he has a social media team, this and that. I mean, so do we, and they just produced that. Although it seems like Sharif right now, chief among them on TikTok. He's loving his TikTok profile right there. So go find us all over. Social media, right? Trader TV Live is everywhere.
I should get an order
go grab that.
FIGMA's not going to open up anytime soon.
Yeah, it's too bad.
That said, we'll keep giving you some updates. The theoretical auction price hasn't changed. I think that's when we'll start to, until I see this 33 move, you know you're not remotely close. But the buy imbalance keeps getting larger. I think we sat down and it was 10 million. It's now almost 35 million to the buy side. But until this theoretical auction price starts jumping around, you know we're not opening anytime soon. But what are we expecting? I don't know, 1 o'clock, 12:30, sometime in the midday, I would expect this opens up, which will mean make sure you get your lunch. Too many traders sit there waiting the whole time and you don't eat and you don't go to the bathroom waiting for FIGMA to open. Lots of traders just wait for that one moment, but typically speaking, it's been closer to 1 o'clock more than anything else. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a big opportunity.
Yep.
But we might have to wait a while for it. That's just how these things work. As far as the rest of the market goes, I'm still, like PayPal's trying to break through VWAP, so we're still on that, looking at yesterday's low for the next out. Intel's Intel. But just going over a name that we didn't even talk too much about, Tesla. You have to remember, like looking at Tesla, I know it's trending down right now, but if you look at this post-earnings, every single day, it's basically been moving a little bit less. With the exception of the last little push it Fed, it's moving a little bit less every single day since the earnings. But what's clear is we bounced on the gap, filled in the gap, and we've been sliding ever since. It filled in the earnings gap, and it's been downward trending. And that resistance might have moved down into closer to the 320 level from 325. So it's really condensing to do something on Tesla. And until it does, I said I was staying away from it until it starts breaking away from this tight little wedge that it's got going on, where you get, oops, I don't have my tool drawn, where you're getting something like this. Whatever, I didn't have the infinite one. But until it breaks out of that wedge, I'm not as excited about Tesla. Let's go to the desk.
Here's the IWM. This one a little bit opposite to what we saw with the rest of the market here. We actually get with the IWM a nice push up at the open. Then, or I guess at least here, the second 15-minute candle. Lately, though, we get that push to 222, then we actually do a topping tail candle right now hanging at around 221.50s. This is always a stock to watch, especially around rates or economic data. We saw what it did yesterday during that FOMC meeting, where it was a little bit less optimistic than expected in terms of cutting rates and when we're going to get these rate cuts this year. So keep an eye here on the IWM. Now, in terms of these specific small caps, we have SNGX. This is probably the truest traditional small cap runner that we have. Sologenics has rallied in the past. They announced positive phase 2A proof of concept results for one of their Behçet's disease treatments. So good look here for SNGX. Then we get two slightly larger small caps, for lack of a better term, but with a bunch of earnings plays, starting with AMSC. This has about just over $2 billion market cap, if I remember correctly. Q1 adjusted earnings of 29 cents per share, beating estimates of 12 cents. Sales were also a beat. Guidance was generally better than expected. Then we have CGNX. This one admittedly a bit larger, about $6.3 billion market cap. Also a double earnings beat. So a couple earnings beats on watch here for CGNX, AMSC, and of course, SNGX, Sologenics. Once again, to the upside. Best of luck to all with these small cap trades, and definitely check out the midday show where Sharif trades a lot of these live. Back to you.
Yeah, you want to talk a little. I mean, you could talk about Coinbase. We're still short the Nasdaq right now, and that's starting to print out. So I only have now about 30% left of this position. I'll talk about this, I guess, quickly, and then Neil can go about it. We just broke through right there that shelf. So we got to fill at 50. So, you know, that was a good trade right now. Just looking at the Nasdaq, I think we can float back in a little bit. The day's low is down here to 91.20. I mean, that's why there's that level there at 45. I mean, that's been the hold level. We've only wicked underneath it twice. So that's why we start to bid out right now. Hopefully we can get that move back in. And then if we do, this is yesterday's sort of tank down that we had in the market before the imbalances and then earnings got the market going at the end of the day. But we could come back into some of these Fed levels, right? I mean, it would mean that the Nasdaq would have to go red. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen. But right into there, $90. That's the low. That would be great. We get that, then we'll be having a good day all of a sudden. But this is a good level here, 90, 91, 91.20. So let's see how far we can get down on the TQs, but it just broke. I'm actually going to take one more fill here at 53 after just sort of zooming out and seeing that. I mean, what's the difference between 53 and 55? 2 cents, but we should, damn it. I should have just never bid, man. Just punch out if you like to trade, especially on the TQs. They move too fast. So sometimes when you get into those levels, you do have to have orders sitting there. And we had all these orders sitting here. So that's why when we got ran over there, out at the 50 period moving average, then out again at 50. So hopefully we get a downside push here on the Nasdaq. And you know where my orders are now. A couple orders in the 50s to get out of a little bit more and see if we can hold that last 20% or so for the downside.
There you go. I mean, the shorts are working. I wish I was telling you that Coinbase was making this breakout through this seller, but at this point, we're going to hear that somebody big was selling some Coinbase at 300, and I'm going to guess it's at the $385 level, just based on what's been happening in the last 3 sessions. No matter how strong this stock is going into 385, it just can't come out the other direction. And I get it; you could just be shorting this and winning. But I want to be playing this to the long side with what the fintech names and crypto were doing this morning with relative strength. So, you know, you could slap the fail for not shorting 300 around this area because it keeps pulling back, but you're making higher lows. And once that's released, I feel like it's really going to go. So shout out to anyone that took that short, but I'm still waiting for the long breakout above 386. But shout out to anyone that's a swing trader.
Okay.
Because if you are, Trade the Pool swing trading programs give you access to up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares and not CFDs. You can hold positions overnight, over the weekend, and enjoy limited risk thanks to a one-time evaluation fee with no monthly payments, no hidden costs. Take Vicente J, for example, one of Trade the Pool's swing traders. He's already locked in over $23K in profits, and the top performer was NMAX. Shorted it from April 20th to May 30th and pulled in close to $7,000 in gains. Trade the Pool's given swing traders the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. Scan the QR code and enjoy 10% off. And let's go to Adara.
Just want to let you guys know, AFRM dropping here. That would be AFRM. I'm seeing apparently the New York announcing that they're going to be investigating buy now, pay later regulations. They've apparently issued a request for information to buy now, pay later providers and other financial institutions operating in New York State. So potentially new regulations on watch for the likes of AFRM. This one dropping. Also keep an eye on Robinhood. It's worth noting, I'm just seeing this headline come through. Unclear if it's this just happened. It looks like it did, but apparently Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev, of course, a day after their earnings report, apparently announcing the launch of banking services next quarter. So HOOD on watch. More announcements coming from CEO Vlad Tenev. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Just noticing a firm already bouncing a little bit. I might it makes sense to probably take advantage of the fact, like PayPal is not the same thing, but hey, they're kind of in the space. So when I see this bounce off a support level at the same time, I'm kind of inclined, instead of waiting till 40s, to just take a piece out there. If I see a firm bouncing, maybe this will bounce off that same level. If it breaks down, we can look for that low of the day. But a firm, slight move to the downside on that story, but not a heck of a lot. I can tell you something which is continuing to head lower. And I know I get the same slack every time we talk about UNH. Before, the concern with UNH was the spotlight that was on them for their business practices, for obvious reasons, which we don't need to get into.
Right.
And there was a bit of a dead cat bounce when some of that resolved itself. However, the shift went to looking at the group, looking at the pressure that is still on that business, and the earnings just came through, reaffirming that this is still not looking very good. So suffice to say, this wants the low. It's about 200, it's at 256 right now. The bottom's just underneath the 250 level on UNH. Everyone seems to want to pick a bottom on this stock. I usually say to you, why get the bottom when you can try to get the call? Like, think about Carvana. You didn't need to have $5. You could have had Carvana after it rebounded and was at like $20 or $30, up 5x, and you'd still be great because you didn't try to catch the absolute low. And I can't even use a weekly chart for this. It's so bad. I have to use a monthly chart for UNH for the last time we were down here. If you look at where this is going on a monthly chart, I saw someone say 250. Why not about 220 bucks in here? That's the 200 period on the weekly or the monthly, and that's a big support level on the monthly at about 213, 215. I think you're headed to 20s and teens on this stock, and that's the first place I will look for some kind of a bounce. If it confirms a bounce down there, I think you take a shot at it. But like I said, before this was about other things, and now suddenly this is after the report that it's dropping. So looking for a dead cat bounce, you need an ample amount of patience for this name. Not everything was great when it comes to earnings and in this cycle. Sean, you mentioned most people are beating here, left, right, and center, but not all good. ARM is down 11% and is now short sell restricted. SSR, which means the uptick rule is in effect, which was a missed opportunity, which usually I'm looking at an SSR name like ARM, but for whatever reason, I don't even have a good one. I wasn't. It bounced exactly off of $140 twice. If you ever hear me use the term SSR bounce, this would be a textbook example, a stock that is a company people generally like to own, right? So you tend to get buyers on the dip. It's down over 10%. Now, they did miss on their guidance, but it wasn't all bad. And then bounces off an even dollar level for a mean reversion trade. And it gave it to you twice off of 140. So that's generally what it looks like. It doesn't always play out perfectly there. And I'm just looking back over to Robinhood. This Robinhood's a perfect example, I think, of mean reversion and everyone waiting patiently for confirmation of buyers after a stock going down on earnings. It was a good report by Robinhood. It moved up initially. For whatever reason, and I'm not here to try to tell you why, it got sold off and was struggling to catch a bid. But the second it got within a stone's throw of $100, the buyers came in and took it right back to where it was yesterday. And now we're holding just off the close price at 106. So it's got this weird trend going on, lower highs and lower, like lower highs in here and some higher lows still. The name that I might trade is still going to be SOFI based off of that, because that's holding with the same kind of strength and it was so clean off VWAP. So if they both come into VWAP at the same time, I might just prefer to trade SOFI because it's like this one's been moving really nicely the last couple of days is the best way to think about it. I find when you get a trade on SOFI, it tends to be really clean in terms of your entry. Like here, it easily gives you entries within pennies of 23 bucks, where you can risk like 5 cents. And I like that kind of a setup. Let's go back over to Adara.
Keep an eye here on Boyle. I just have Boyle up, but any kind of energy or gas play. We did just get these natural gas change BCF. 48 billion here versus 41 billion expected. So a bit of a drop here in BOIL, though it's already trying to bounce back. Back to you.
Anytime soon.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we, okay, by the way, the futures did go down into the bottom there. So as Neil was talking just 4 minutes ago, we were able to get some 30s, man. And then we just got some 50s as well as we started to break up a little bit. So, reward yourself when you're right. So we only have 20% left now. So that's exactly what we did. I think I'll be glued up my desk all morning as well, because right now this FIGMA IPO is not moving at all. And this is what it looks like, FIG right here. $33, the tap hasn't moved at all. And there's just an increase in share size here. The subscription is going to be way over, or the offering is way oversubscribed. So I don't, I'm excited. I'm going long. I mean, the trade is to go long off the open and hope that you can get a a good, well, obviously you'll get the opening price, and then hopefully some of the continuation does happen. I could see sell as well, so I don't, the last couple IPOs have done fine when we've seen this. We've seen Circle take off a little bit as well and be a great trade. Let's see if Figma gives us those same kind of feels. And it does, but it doesn't to me at the same time. I don't know. It's just a weird one. You know, Adobe was initially trying to buy these guys and then, you know, got told that they'd be too strong if they did have them in their portfolio. So not too excited there for Adobe today, as, you know, they put that effort in a couple of years ago to try to take these guys out. And this is sort of what's been happening here as, hey, what's up, Randy? I was actually going to go get a coffee actually in a minute. Maybe I'll go. No, maybe I'll go get it. Don't worry about it. But this is just Adobe here with AI coming into play here, you know, pulling back in. So if Adobe wanted to buy Figma, and this is what's been happening with Adobe, I just don't know about the space as far as, you know, creation and making those websites and website build and all of that. So I don't know if Figma is what it is. You ever build any websites, Randy? No, same. I just know that there are many different.
My wife does.
Oh, cool. Okay. So there's some website. Do you know what program she uses, or? Right. All right. All right. Well, we'll find out about that.
You know what we got? Are you in tomorrow?
No, I'm not. Randy is.
Well, I only ask you. You know who reports tomorrow morning?
Vivian?
No, Energy, baby.
Oh, right. All the big energy names.
Energy, XOM. Well,
Yeah, it's all of them.
And Chevron.
XOM's got a bounce today.
Ooh.
Little bounce.
Well, it's Petetra.
Smidge.
I speak French.
A pre-report bounce.
It's not bad.
A
but
baby bounce.
Baby mini bounce. Yeah, but you're in this for the divvy.
Yeah, I'm in this for the divvy.
Off the lows, I'm assuming. We get a lot of questions. People actually ask a lot, like, what are the things that you're into? And I always just tell them, like, what I know, which I'm assuming is not your entire portfolio. You always talk about XOM and you talk about.
But I have an interest in energy, yeah.
Okay.
Rig counts are down. Permian's putting out more efficiently than it was this time a year ago. So the patch is healthy. There's an oversupply, obviously, but you know, we've got worldwide tumult, I guess you'd call it, in places. So that bounce is worth it. It's, you know, it's been pretty steady over the last year. Again, shale supply is negative in the last 24 months. Stock price is holding. So they're kind of removing themselves, Exxon, from some of the more global plays, a little more of a safety net down below. I think it's a good move. I really do. And if their whole shale process is more efficient, so less wells, less rigs, less people, less equipment, blah, 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 your expenses are lower, same output, hey, why not? So
there you go. And you, like I said, if you have a diversified portfolio,
yes.
I would say you want some dividend names.
Dividends are
as
important.
well. And the dividends is a good piece of the puzzle. Good place to go get them.
Just don't buy Ford.
I just like don't buy Ford for the dividend. I like CVX a little bit better, but I think you're looking at basically the same thing. But I think it's sort of CVX has performed a little bit better recently because they were able to get their deal through, and that gave them just a small bump over Exxon because they were kind of competing. But again, thank you so much, Randy. We won't talk. Usually we call him Rivian.
Yes,
Randy.
please.
We'll go into what's going on in Rivian, but the market just bled to the lows again because I looked over and I'm like, yeah, well, energy's looking good, but that's not really mattering. Oh, I just heard something about Fubo. All right, so anyways, PayPal, this is where the buyer was before at 69.25. So I can cancel this offer. At this point, if it breaks this downtrend from the volume weighted average price, I jump out and wait for VWAP again. So just gonna be moving my stop. Why did I have a stop in, oh, that's right. I know why I had a stop on Robinhood. Because I had put a stop in anticipation of 100, and I never got the long. So I just canceled that.
Yeah, we're.
So I'm just going to trail out of PayPal if we break out here.
Yeah, good. All right. Our position board is not working, but that's okay. I am short right now. Well, it's not okay, but we'll maybe get it back in a second. But make sure you do scan that QR code right now to get involved with eSignal. I mean, Neil and I talk all the time about how valuable it is. Look at all the different markets out there. Have trusted charting platforms, right? Make sure that you can get everything you need all of the time. And we want to thank a big thank you to our friends over at ICE and eSignal for giving that 1 month free if you do scan that QR code. Connect over 50 plus brokers. It's the scanning. It's all of that that's available to you through eSignal platforms. So just, you know, for me, it's pretty easy to use. We're using it now on the market recap show, so you'll be able to see some of the advantages there. It has options there as well, live level 2, some market on closing stuff available there as well, and a good customer support. So yeah, you know, we like eSignal and take advantage of it. Not often do you get those deals coming through. And I like to look at VWAP and right there, bang. I mean, it's just, for me, it's a big trade now, making some money back here on the TQQs. So going short there, we should have just got a little bit, well, we did. We got really short. No problem with the positioning there. Our stop was just a little bit near VWAP, so the stop order that I have on this trade was breaking through 35s. So 20 cents worth of a break there to make use right now. It's into the dollar club. So we held this short all day, and now it's coming back in. I'll bid a little bit out here again. Let's get out of 5% of what we have left there at 14s. I'm also bidding 91 close, and then if we can, 91 flat, sorry. If we can close our position, get out of here, fly. You know, looking for something around here, honestly, would be a dream trade down into 90.50, and that's if the market completely collapses. Debating actually punching the short of the day, the low of the day right here, into this short. So, you know, we just got a nice bid there at 14s. It bounces off of 91 clean. You know, the trend is definitely to the downside. We've rode 50-period moving averages down before. You saw that trade on SOFI near the end of the day last week, or on earnings, whenever that was, Monday, I guess, or Tuesday. But yeah, it still remains the same for me. There goes the Nasdaq. We'll see about breaking through there, and that could be a good stopping area for us, 91.72. But good move to the downside. We're still holding about 20%. Every time I get out, it dwindles down a little bit, but it's around there. $1, it's a good trade. We'll have to keep on watching what's going on right now. Okay, I want to call up the dollar right here, because on a 30-minute chart, it looks like this. What does it look like on a 1-minute chart? So here comes the dollar coming back down. So generally, that would be great, not necessarily for the market, but for some of the big cap tech names. We've talked about that, but the relationship hasn't really been like that. You know, NVIDIA right now had to move down, back into 181. Too bad. Look at this, back and forth, back and forth. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm happy holding this short, Neil, and I think that, you know, for right now, that would be good. We did get an interest rate pause yesterday. Obviously, there was, as expected, 4.5% here in Canada. It's 2.75, and
the problem with Powell throwing cold water on the September
on future ones, yeah.
And it wasn't just the September cut he threw some cold water on. It was also that we might not get any for the whole year, which is not what the market's pricing in. And it's wild because there were 2 dissents in the first place. There have not been 2 dissents on a Fed vote in over 30 years.
Right.
And off the back of that, you had 2 members that wanted to cut rates. In that environment, we might not get one past September either. Like, that's a bit of a shock to the market. So it seems as if we sold off on that, and then we rallied because of Microsoft and Meta. And I thought that was going to be enough for us to sustain. I understand the Nasdaq's still technically up from overnight, from the close yesterday, but we've been trending down, going back to what might have just been the fundamental disappointment in what was said at the Fed. Let's go up to Adair.
Here is the stock heat map for the day, and we have a lot of, I would say, uncertainty between these sectors. There's not really one sector that stands out as particularly strong, except for maybe retail trade. Costco up 2%. Amazon pretty strong here ahead of its earnings report tonight after the bell. Walmart up 1% as well. Other than that sector, everything else is pretty splintered in terms of how it's performing as a group. Electronic technology really mixed here. We've got Qualcomm, Micron, and TXN all sharply red. NVIDIA strong though here, as is AMD. On the tech services side are 2 earnings winners from last night, Meta and Microsoft, both up on the day, despite the fact that both are actually off their highs. And Google actually red on the day, though. Oracle up 3% as well. Palo Alto Networks continuing to sell off, though, down about 5% almost this morning. So mixed performance here for finance, though. MasterCard up about 3% in earnings day one. Producer manufacturing, super mixed. Everything here is bright green, or in the case of earnings day one play, LRCX, bright red. Then we have some kind of mixed action here. Energy, minerals, process industries, consumer durables here. industrial services and communication. So long story short, it's really hard to find one sector that is really sending a clear message. This, much like the market, kind of mixed, trying to find its way right now, although certain things are sending us to the downside. Back to you.
Yeah, we'll give a shout out and thank you to
shout out to
Randy.
Randy,
Got
yeah,
a little bit
for
of a
the coffee,
reload
yeah,
on the
cheers.
coffee. Shout out to Oracle shareholders. We're gonna talk about
Loving that
Walmart and
stock.
Costco doing well. But I'm like, forget about Walmart and Costco. Oracle's up 3.5%. As the market is quite literally at the low of the day, Oracle is at the high of the day. It just feels like it's been this way during earnings season where it is so incredibly stock specific. I get it, there's some probably rotation to safety, which is good for Walmart and Costco. With Oracle, they're gonna get some pull up because you saw the great performance. Cloud's been fantastic, so obviously they're gonna be good. They're just not participating in the pullback. Even Meta's starting to pull back a little bit. Oracle has been an absolute rocket ship that doesn't show too many signs of slowing down here. I see a couple of people in the chat. Is anyone else buffering the? I've seen no issues with the stream, but if you find it buffering, just try to hit the refresh. It's been fine.
I'm looking at it.
It's
I
been
see it.
fine for me, but I don't know. If it is having issues, we'll maybe have a look into it or just try refreshing it. I did trail out on PayPal. I moved the trail. It was at the quarter before.
Damn you, NVIDIA.
But it's still, here, I'll just draw I told you what I was gonna do. There's the trend line. I go, once it breaks the trend, I get out. It closed above the trend line. You get out of the trade. That's an automatic out for me. It was kind of an automated trade. At that point, I'll wait to get back into the volume weighted average price, if it even bounces that far, because the market's still at the lows and you could trend even further. And I didn't think PayPal had that bad of it doesn't really matter what you think. I didn't think it was that bad of a quarter at all, but it's just getting bled here. Now, a couple of days in a row, I think you got to let things like this settle themselves down a little bit here. Still going to hold on to Intel because I feel like that's usually more of like an all-day kind of thing when you get it going. But yeah, the shorts have definitely come in. I'm not as jazzed about getting the dip buy in something like a SOFI until I see the market start catching a little bit more strength. But it's holding up pretty well, up 7 points. This and Robinhood were really, Hood was really the story in terms of buying off the dips. Like Hood was ridiculous, 101 to 109. What are you gonna do? Like that was a real opportunity down there in front of $100 on a Robinhood. You just try to ride the coat waves in some other fintech name if you could. But I'm not jumping the gun on buying the dip because this market's looking weak.
All right. Yes, my mother. It's blue golf shirt I'm wearing. Hello, my mother and father. I told them that we had Kevin O'Leary. My dad, every time he's on, he's like, "Oh, I like to see you guys talk to him." So I told him that he's coming on today. So shout out to them.
What's with the blue golf? She asked you what you were wearing?
Yeah, because sometimes they, they open up YouTube and they click on the Trader TV Live thing, and it's not the current show. So
that's a pain in the butt. Like, so
yeah.
It'll suggest you like one from a week ago. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like one time I was wearing, it was like 40 degrees outside, and I was wearing like a sweater, a Trader TV Live sweater or something like that. And then she was like, "What? Like, why are you wearing a sweater? It's like crazy out there." And I was like, also, I had facial hair back in that one, and I don't have that anymore. So it was kind of like could have been the, the indicator right there. Was a Fabian.
I think that's a bit of a dead giveaway.
Yeah. So right there, the Nasdaq, we stuck with the short. We shorted it off VWAP, and there it goes, right down there to the downside. So just that great cover that we got at 91. We got 91.03s. So that was really, really good right there as well. The quantum names have been really blasting. That Palantir is blasting as well. QBTS, a little bit of upside right now, up 7%. And there it goes right now, taking out, let's say, bang to that one. Taking out the high of the day right there. Now goes quantum name, D-Wave. So there goes QBTS, looking at what we're looking at from yesterday. There's that take again, running into possible support or resistance areas now upside. So watch out for that name trying to go a little further right now, QBTS. Also, Rigetti there. My mom makes pretty good spaghetti, so what's up to Rigetti and Mom's Spaghetti? That's up 10% now as that continues to go to the upside as well. There goes Rigetti. Nice play there on the quantum names. And then Google off of its last earnings call. Okay, it's back down now. I didn't even realize Google was down there, but with the Nasdaq's trying to fade out, this might be one of those opportunities again, picking up a strong name down 2%. That, again, huge quantum name there. Yes, there goes the TQs. Let's go. We'll flush it down the toilet today as the market now breaks the potential lows. I hate cheering for that as I'm hella long Nasdaq in my own account, and you know, being up still on the day is fine, but the market hitting lows right now, like really good. There it goes right now, the Nasdaq coming back in. We had zoomed out a little bit and showed you that maybe this area, we have the 50-period moving average right there around 90.50. I think these would be great areas to put some bids on. So I'm going to do that. Maybe we do get that move down. I see you have FIGMA up, so I'll let you talk about that in just a second. Yeah, there's a nice move down in this market. We're still waiting. We know Kevin's running a little bit late today for his appearance on the show. So
That's okay.
I can't imagine that he has anything more important to do, but I'm sure he does.
Keeping the suspense.
Yes, exactly.
The suspense there. And look, we get a lot of questions. Everyone's asking about FIGMA. If you don't know, I put it in the chat. FIG, it's on the New York, so not the Nasdaq. Make sure you get it right.
Yeah.
It's still indicating now 42 million shares of a buy imbalance. This is constantly updating, but what's not updating is the auction price. It's still only giving us the IPO price. And so it's just a guess, but generally speaking, until we see the auction price reflect a new, until they start adjusting the theoretical auction price, it tends to mean that you're not close, right? Like you'll see this move. There's no way it goes from 10 million to buy to 42 million to buy, and you still have the same theoretical auction price. Once this starts moving around, we'll be able to tell you, hey, they're starting to price this thing for an open, and that's more likely when it'll be more imminent. So I'm not really thinking it's even remotely close, everybody. I know we're excited for it. Most people, myself included, planning to take the opening print here with a limit on open order. I tend to use, I'd probably cross up to like 40 or 50 or something. If it was 33, I'd cross 40s. You're just going to take the opening print. But we have no indication as to what time it will be. If we start getting that indication, we'll let you know. Trust me, we'll have this up, every one of us, even the midday guys, they can tell you what the tap is, they can tell you what the imbalance is. When it opens up, it'll just pop in, and everyone will get really excited, and it'll probably be during that midday, because it's almost 11 o'clock as we speak. And if you're remembering back to something like a Circle, I think Circle was close to 1 o'clock. I'm pretty sure CoreWeave was close to 1 o'clock. It's just how it goes, everybody. So at the end of the day, you just have to be a little bit patient. And it's perfectly fine to wait all day for that one trade. Wow, okay, you're getting why is this stock bouncing? You stink, Intel. Making a bounce back into 20. I was just trying to get some 1990s. I might take something out in the mid 90s again, but I'm anticipating this can be something like almost like an all day kind of hold. It's just look at the pattern. It's like it tries to go up and fails, tries to go up and it fails, tries to go up and it fails, and then sort of the same thing today, tries to bounce, and then you just short it off the volume weighted average price. So the market's still trending down. I think it makes a lot of sense to hold on to these shorts. Outside of looking for a bounce play, potentially VWAP in SOFI, if we can get it. Let's go up to Money Talks with Adara.
Here's the US dollar. This daily chart still looking really good. That is our 6th straight green day for the US dollar. And not only that, but we're back above, or at least we were at the high of day here, that 100 level for the first time since late May of this year. So USD continuing its trek to the upside, continuing to make these higher highs and higher lows after being in a downtrend for this entirety of 2025 thus far. Let's see if this uptrend or reversion, shall we say, can continue into the back half of the year, as we're about now 1 month in, crazily enough, into Q3. Let's talk here about the numbers we got this morning. PCE year over year, both the PCE and the core number actually hotter than expected. PCE year over year, 2.6% versus 2.5% expected. Year over year core PCE, 2.8% versus 2.7% expected. Then if you get the month over month prints, they were both exactly in line with the estimates, 0.3% for both. So year over year PCE a little bit hotter, core month over month and non-core month over month PCE basically in line. Interesting stuff there. Better than expected initial jobless claims, actually higher than lower than expected, higher than the previous print. So 218,000 versus the last print of 223,500 and the previous of 217,000. We're gonna have to wait and see tomorrow. We're getting some more economic data on watch. That'll be non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate at 8:30 a.m. Fed Chair Jerome Powell himself said that the unemployment rate's going to be really important. So let's see what number that brings. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Adara, for all of that. The market right now just took another leg down. So here we go. I gotta hope this chair keeps on. You had a new chair, I think, over here. There's a nice move down on the TQs, breaking now through these levels. We talked about that 90.50 would be a great little level for us, but now $1.34 right now in the money, and that's a cash cow for me there today would be this trade, and thankfully we have it. We have AMD short as well at one point. This worked out fine, flat for us, but there goes AMD, and I thought AMD was much worse than NVIDIA as a longer term play, but today NVIDIA and AMD are both, I don't want to say much worse, but NVIDIA trying to hold green. But again, like we're long, I'm red on NVIDIA today. We went long there. That broke the bottom, and when we broke the bottom, I was like, okay, let's go short. The short seemed to be right, but we had to wait for VWAP. The same trade basically that we have on the futures right now. There goes NVIDIA breaking lower. Looks like it's going to turn red, I would say at this point. The futures are just rocking right now to the downside. Man, that's going to turn out to be a pretty decent look there, it looks like, for us now on the futures. But all right, so yeah, look at it, just bleeding. More downside action there on the TQQs. Check out Robinhood. They came out with a good report today as well. They're holding up quite nicely, so that's a pretty good play. The name that, it's 10.52 right now. We wait on Kevin O'Leary coming through. But Palantir is a name that we haven't really talked about that much, and that just went red as well. So they're right back into a potential support area for sure. I mean, looking at this name, calling out a bigger level. Maybe it's just 158 that comes into play. That's your 200 period moving average. So I could see some strength picking up off that if we do get back in a little bit. But you know, being short the market now, I wasn't joking talking about maybe this market goes red. I mean, ahead of Apple tonight, Apple's not had the greatest. And look, I just bought some Apple at 212. I think, was it 212 or 210? I think it was 212 there. We saw Palo Alto. We bought Best of Breed yesterday or 2 days ago on that CyberArk deal. That's hitting the skids right now. That's down 5% as well. Pan W. Apple's still fine, but you know, do we expect sort of the big move like we got in Meta or Microsoft in Apple? I don't think so. I don't know if Apple has that in it right now, as we know that smartphone demand still there for Apple, but there's been some catch-up trades there as the Chinese government has really looked at Huawei and looked at some different competition there because Apple wasn't playing nice, and not just Apple, but the tariffs as well. Like Apple moved some production to India, right? We'll see how that can affect some of their numbers.
Look, man, the deadline, tomorrow's deadline on the tariffs, we're really just talking about India.
Keep forgetting Australia, it's tomorrow already.
And Canada. Maybe there's a couple of others, but those are the ones that matter. And then the 12th is China. So really, the fact you don't have an India deal might be a big deal. But the other thing with regards to Apple is you had 2 reports last night which moved to the downside because of concerns about smartphone demand. And that's ARM and Qualcomm. Like both of them down heavily. I think that was always going to be trouble for Apple. And maybe that's good news that this happened so that their report can give you a buying opportunity. But it would be hard for Apple to look strong today on the back of what happened with Qualcomm and ARM. Both of these, I mean, let's be real, ARM technology is in, which is like 98.6 or something like that % of all smartphones. You know, and they said that aspect of the license aspect of their business was actually struggling for growth and did not have a good quarter, and there's some concerns going into the next quarter. So much so that they're actually looking into, which is weird for them, they're actually looking into making their own chips instead of just putting the technology in, which what would end up happening is they would somehow turn themselves into competitors for some of their biggest clients, which is going to be a bit weird, so we see that's received. But ARM did not look very good. I can say that I'm happy. I sold this well before. Like, I sold it into 160 because of this, technically. I sold some that I had bought in the 80s. And I was going to do it regardless, and then it ends up turning at the same level. But I'm looking to buy back into this thing. After the quarter and the guide, I'm going to be pretty patient with it. I don't love this little resistance here and the fact that we can barely hold on to the 140. If you retake the 200 period, this is one you really, really wait for the dips on it. The valuation's still a little bit stretched when it comes to ARM. But yeah, it was never going to be all that great for Apple, I don't think, just simply because of Qualcomm and ARM. Not too good. But that said, I keep coming back to how strong we're seeing the move in some of the squeeze names. Like, and you're looking, I mean, look, Carvana's, I get it, not everyone thinks Carvana is that great. And even in the midst of this pullback, it's still up 19%. And it's went right back to where it broke out to at the open. So overall, the shorts, maybe more new shorts got into this on Carvana, beating top and bottom. And every single time they have a good quarter, all they do is burn some more shorts. And then new ones engage, and then they seem to get burnt the next quarter, and then new ones engage. And it's just cascading, regardless of what you think. Like, everyone sits there waiting for GME to do something, and Carvana's been doing something for a very, very long time in here. And it hasn't really shown any signs of stopping. I get it. At some point, it's probably going to have a big pullback. But until it happens, just enjoy the ride while you can. Like the ride that we should have had on Robinhood. I know I keep coming back to that, but what do you think?
Love some Robinhood right there. Yeah, I mean, just quickly, you know, we sort of talked about what we looked at today. The PCE came out, the Fed preferred gauge for inflation, right? Came out today. There's PCE, there's PCI. But they come out now and was up 0.3, so met expectations there, held at 2.7. So that's kind of strange that the market is having this move down to the downside there today when we did get a decent number out of that. So, you know, just be careful with what's been happening. The GDP expectation was now 3%. So that's actually pretty good for the market, especially for the U.S. And that is amongst all this tariff sort of troubleness that's been happening. I'm actually surprised that Apple's holding up so well there, as we did, you know, get that move there. Qualcomm, we talked about that in ARM. So yeah, maybe that's one of those angles that we can look at when we talk about Apple, and especially tomorrow morning, as we'll wait to see how Apple opens up. Because again, Microsoft opened up huge this morning, right? I mean, it was a great level of 560. You're down $30 right now on Microsoft. It doesn't seem like, you know, when you're looking it up and you're like, okay, it's up 4%, 5% still, I'll take it, fine. But from where it came from, it's a nice little pullback there for MSFT. Meta, we haven't looked at that in a minute. We're going to go to Adair just quickly. Meta holding up, still up 11%, but still off of its highs. And if you're going to play some strength, I still like Meta, Palantir, Microsoft for this market to be bouncing back. We do have a negative story, not negative story, but negative price action in AMD. That just continues to make lows as well. Looking to break through 178.50, which would be its day's low over there. What's up, Adara?
Just keep an eye here on the market making new lows. We have a post on X from about a minute or two ago from White House correspondent for Fox News, Edward Lawrence. Again, this is Fox News' White House correspondent. He's posting that apparently a White House official has told him that tariffs are going to snap back to April 2nd levels at 12 a.m. On August 1st for countries that do not have a framework agreement, or for countries that have been assigned a tariff rate through a letter or announcement. So basically, if they have not made a deal, it sounds like as of tomorrow morning at 12:01 a.m., they'll be getting their April 2nd Liberation Day tariff. Back to you.
That's us.
Yeah, we have to watch out for Canada. Watch out below here. The market is really starting to tank. We may get zeros, man. I mean, the market may go back to flat on the day. Like I said, when we were up 1.3%, sort of had, I don't want to say kidded about it or anything like that, because the market's not really something to laugh about, but you know, you do have that opportunity to pull back in now today. We had sat here and said that the futures and the rate cut yesterday, the fact that now we're not expecting any further rate cuts, that's definitely having an effect in this market. You know, this is the expected move here. I'm sure we're going to have Kevin in a couple of seconds or minutes. You'll talk about the rates, I'm sure, and maybe his opinion. But right now for September, it's looking like no rate cut again right now for September. We're 63% here looking for the short, or looking for no rate cut at all, which I don't know if that's helping the market or not. You know, market strength, when you're looking at the market strength here, we'll talk about the housing market. We'll talk about what's going on with the economy in general. As jobs continue to be pretty strong. We have some couple important job reports coming up right there, but that's where we're at right now, 425 to 450. So no rate cut, no rate announcement, in August. So you got to wait quite a while now, September the 17th, before we get another rate cut announcement or another meeting, another announcement coming through. And that may not be a rate cut. And if you go all the way to December now, what happened to 6 rate cuts this year? I guess that's not happening now. And it looks like we may even get right now, the consensus now for December is 1 rate cut. We're at 42% right now debating, and there's going to be a debate because you have 34% saying 50 basis points. You have 42% equaling that 74, giving us 1 basis point cut, 1 rate cut down there, 25 basis points. And there's even an angle down here, 15% right now debating no rate hike, no rate cut, nothing by the time December hits. When I said rate hike there, there's no rate hike situation, but and again, maybe there is. I don't know what could hike these rates right now. I'm not.
What would cause them to raise?
Yeah, I don't know if there is a situation where they do raise.
Not a likely scenario in which they would actually.
I mean, 47 is Donald Trump. There is getting pretty heated about the rates where they are right now. I mean, a cut would be. I mean, a rate hike would be. Oh man, I don't know if that's an instant firing. I don't even know if he can fire Jerome Powell. We've talked about that back and forth there, but that would be something I would assume if that were to come through. We're definitely not expecting any rate hikes anytime soon. But all right, it's 11:02 right now. Normally we had flipped over to the midday show by now, but we're waiting, and Dara's going to be interviewing Kevin, and then we're going to talk to Kevin about a little bit as well. Kevin O'Leary, moments away here on Trader TV Live. And we're waiting for a mic test.
Oh yeah, we're just waiting on the last few little bit of tests to make sure the audio is going to be good when we get Kevin on. So just to give you guys a bit of a recap, because I know there's a lot of traders that are still waiting on FIGMA. Not much has changed. Every time we pull back to this, I'm just showing you that the buy imbalance gets a little bit larger at almost 45 million shares. This is 40. It's 40 times oversubscribed, but you're still indicating the 33. There's no way with the oversubscription and with the buy imbalance that's going to stay with the 33 open. It's going to open higher than that, looking to take the opening print for a bit of a rush here. And still find it hilarious that the FTC decided that, Adobe shouldn't be allowed to buy these guys for $20 billion 3 years ago. They come to market, and the market hasn't done too poorly since then. And they're getting 19.3 and are crazy oversubscribed. So we'll see how much cash got left on the table with this one at that valuation. Seems to be like there's always like a little bit here. Now we do have a super chat, and I want to get to it. Appreciate all of our viewers. Thank you for the super chat. NMO and Mobsy brother, buy some new caps for your head. $sign caps. I don't usually wear caps. The Katina man wears the caps.
That's a Palantir hats over here.
You got a Palantir. You have. We have some ones that we've been given. I know you're talking. You put the symbol in Capstone Therapeutics, which is not moving whatsoever. So I know you're actually talking about actual caps. Otherwise, why would you be mentioning that? So at the end of the day, we'll talk about any stock that you put in there. But generally speaking, if it's not doing any volume, we're not here to pump any of those stocks. So we've been waiting for it, everybody. Big event. Always a pleasure to have Kevin O'Leary on the show. Let's go to the desk with Adair.
Very special guest with us today. Welcome back to the show, Kevin O'Leary. How are you doing today, Kevin? Thanks for being with us.
Great to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, let's just get right into the questions here. You've said that the country that ends up controlling energy and AI is very likely to be a global leader from an economic perspective and also a military perspective. So from a practical standpoint, what should the U.S. be doing right now in terms of policy or infrastructure to secure that advantage? And in what ways can the U.S. and Canada work together instead of against each other, specifically when it comes to avoiding these tariff fights?
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. So if you look at AI spending right now, number one is the U.S., number two is China, number three is the UAE, United Arab Emirates. And so they are number three now, and they've got very specific goals in terms of achieving some very strong momentum in AI around building what are called AI agents, like images of people like you or me. And they're most advanced in doing these right now. But in terms of AI competition, it turns out what we're learning pretty quickly is it's about power. So you can't do massive learning models without data centers. And it used to be that a big data center was 250 megawatts, and that would take up about 2 acres of land. Today, these hyperscalers like Meta, OpenAI, even Tesla, Microsoft, they're looking for 5 gigawatts, and that's about 5,000 acres. That's a giant farm, basically. And the problem is, if you go to the grid anywhere in North America, let's just say you're trying to build it in Virginia. You know, that's where 45% of the data centers of the United States are. There's no more power. Because if you add a gig of power to the grid, the existing grid, the rate holders, the rate payers, the library, the school, the village, the town, the city, their rates go up 20%. And there's no way politically that's going to happen. And so there's a huge dilemma. Now, where is all the power in North America? In Canada. It's in Canada. Canada owns the lowest cost energy in North America, period. And it's clean energy in many cases. Either it's hydro in Quebec and Manitoba, or it's stranded nat gas in Alberta. They have the power. So I think what's going to happen in the next 24 months, and I'm extremely optimistic and hopeful, as many Canadians might be, the reign of the idiot king is over. So Trudeau is gone. And so that disastrous C-69 bill that put the country into a free fall, an economic coma is the only way to describe it in terms of GDP growth or debt per capita. It's a disaster. But with no idiot king and new management in place, there may be a chance for some of these projects to get green lighted. And primarily what we're talking about is building power in places like Quebec or in, I'm betting on Alberta because they have the most aggressive policy and the lowest cost nat gas. That's where I put my money. But they're going to be providing for the hyperscalers power and data centers. And I think that's where Canada can come out on top in AI.
Let's move on to crypto for a bit here. So the recent passing and signing of the Genius Act was a very big moment for that space. With that in mind, what elements do you think need to be included in upcoming crypto bills, specifically the market structure bill, to propel crypto forward to trillion-dollar inflows? And separately, how long do you think it'll take for stablecoins to maybe replace traditional payment methods?
Okay, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, this, you know what, it really came on pretty quickly. I mean, we were kind of, for 10 years, it's just done nothing because of lack of legislation. And then all of a sudden, Senator Haggerty gets this Genius Act, the old Stablecoin Act, gets it done. And USDC and Tether and other stablecoins have come into the fore. And you're right, I'm just one investor, but next week, for the first time ever, because it's now law, I'm going to do the first transfer between two corporate entities, one in Canada and one in the U.S., by USDC, US stablecoin. Now, I was one of the largest shareholders of WonderFi, which just got acquired. It hasn't closed yet, but it will in a few weeks. It looks like it. Anyways, the vote's through. Robinhood bought WonderFi. So if you have a wallet in Canada on, let's call it Robinhood Canada, and you've got a wallet in the States on Robinhood US, both on your phone, you can transfer USDC at a fraction of the cost it used to cost to take it to a bank, and you can see it instantaneously. Banks lose transfers all the time, and you have to wait for the money to come back, sometimes a week, and you don't get any interest on that. So now that it's legal, I'm allowed to do that. It's compliant with my own compliance department. So we won't be using banks to transfer USDC between Canada and the United States or Switzerland or the UAE, where we do business in these places, ever again. Never. Why would I ever use a bank? I don't need them. And so I think banks should really wake up and realize they're going to have to provide services in other ways or get into this themselves. But now I can do the transfer in less than 4 seconds at 100th the cost. So this is very good for investors, very good for consumers, very good for the market, and an advance that had been stalled out for 10 years because of, well, primarily the SEC. But now the SEC is on board. The OSC will follow suit, I'm assuming, and this will be great for trading.
Hi, Kevin. Great to have you back on again. I was sort of perusing through your X handle, and that's where I got the question about data center. I'm glad that Adara brought that up. I think you're dead on some of that acknowledgement there of what the future looks like. Happy to hear that it's going to be hopefully a Canadian story as well. As you know, as you mentioned, our economy needs to get going a little bit. Is there a name in the space that you like? Vertiv has been really hot lately, VRT, up over 186% from those tariff lows. Is there a space there that you like? Do you maybe potentially a Canadian company or anything like that, just to give our viewers a little bit of a taste? Because I remember when energy was getting killed, you came on here here and stamped that, and that was an unbelievable trade. So similar kind of an energy play here with Vertiv or something in the space. Do you have a name that you like?
You know, my attitude about crypto and data centers, they're all starting to come together. It's in a really strange way. The best way to play this would be to index it. It's sort of like, I take it back to the gold rush days.
Right.
If you could go back 250 years, would you have been better off being a gold miner or the guy that made jeans, picks, and shovels? And it turns out you would have had the same returns on the jeans, picks, and shovels with less volatility because everybody that was going for the gold needed them. That's the infrastructure play. And so that was my premise on WonderFi, which now we know has been bought by Robinhood. So now I'm a Robinhood shareholder, a Coinbase shareholder, which are liquid. I mean, there's no crypto without an exchange. Most people will not go and build their own wallet. They're going to use an exchange, and because the exchange provides the tax documentation. And so I like those two. They've had big moves anyways, but there are going to be some companies that also build the data centers themselves. And I don't know when this will happen, but BitZero for me is a private company now, but I have been investing heavily in that. I should be transparent and disclose that I recently in Alberta signed a purchase and sale for 13,000 acres of land in Alberta around Grand Prairie. We've named it Wonder Valley. I believe it'll be the largest data center in North America, in partnership with Danielle Smith, the premier. She's a maverick. She's a visionary, and I want to point out, when she was being challenged in October of 2023 by the Idiot King, she sued him and won. She got her sovereign rights to control her energy back from the Idiot King. And so that was the first place I went. And I think she is going to be a rock star within the data center world.
And of course, we're talking about, when you mentioned, now we're talking about former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, for those of us that
are by the way, I mean no disrespect. What I'm saying is factual.
Right.
He was a king and he was an idiot. So it's fair to say this. I'm sorry if people are offended by that, but I only tell the truth.
Well, I mean, most people can probably just look up a chart of most of the major countries' GDP over the last 10 to 12 years, and that will kind of speak for itself. Congratulations on that deal.
It's sad. It's sad to do that, but the truth is, it's by the numbers. The Idiot King is defined that way by the numbers. He destroyed the Canadian economy. It took him 10 years.
It's hard to argue with it. I got to jump back, because as we're talking about crypto, our viewers love Robinhood and Coinbase, so those are very popular, and a lot of us own something or one or two of these types of names. For me, I wish I was in Robinhood. I'm kind of in Coinbase and SOFI myself. Wish I was in Hood. But is there another end of this coin? Because you just saw JPM make a deal with Coinbase for some integration. So the banks are, at least some of them are starting to think about how they're gonna make the adaptation here. Is there any part of you that's wanting to decrease exposure? Because most people, it's sacrilege to decrease the amount of your holdings in the steady banks because they've always done so well over time. But is there an actual shift where you could see money start to come out of the JPMs of the world, dare I say it, and start to chase what is the changing of the guard, potentially?
Well, I think you're making a very valid point, and I would say the first place to look and to have concern would be in what's going on with digital payment systems under the new, Genius Act, because most of us take our credit card out and buy stuff with it, and somewhere there's a 2.5% friction on that transaction. Either the merchant pays for it or you pay for it indirectly. There's all kinds of schemes to give you points that you then redeem and all that stuff. But the truth is, I just made a point about doing a transfer between Canada and the United States. That would cost me about $100 per 100,000, and I have to wait 3 days. Well, I'm never doing that again.
Right.
I'm going to transfer between a wallet in Canada and a wallet in the U.S. $100,000 for 15 cents, not $100. So why can't I do the same thing when I buy something from a merchant? If I have USDC on my phone and they have a USDC account, I just hold it up to their payment device and I transfer 15 USDC backed by the US Treasury. Nobody's paying 2.5% for that. So I would argue that the credit card companies, the behemoths, maybe you want to trim your holdings there a little bit until you see how this plays out, because I think this is going to add a tremendous amount of efficiency to digital payment. And that's not even talking crypto, that's just talking digital payments, which we traditionally have paid worldwide 2.5% for through credit facilities.
I'm kind of with you there. I feel like the XLF holds a little bit too. Just recently, a couple of months ago, or maybe it was about a month and a half ago, I was looking at the XLF, which I hold. I'm like, this is too much exposure for my liking to the credit card companies relative to what I actually want it to be in financial. So I'm just going to not be buying it and try to pick up more of the fintech that I like. So sometimes ETFs aren't as quick to make the adjustment. I'm glad you brought that up, Kevin. It's a great point.
Thanks. I mean, I agree with you.
You know, Kevin, from one talk about crypto and sort of some of the policies, the Nasdaq just turned red on the day. We were up 1.3% at the beginning of the day. The ES, the S&P 500 as well. Right now, here's the Nasdaq, a nice move down. We have a nice little short, by the way. That's pretty good printing right now. But there's the downside play that's happened right since the open. And yesterday, of course, maybe it's no coincidence. We get Jerome Powell coming, not talking very positively regarding any potential rate cuts. I think I know which camp you're in, but can we explain where you think these rates are going and what you think the proper move would be for Jerome Powell and the FOMC here in Canada? We did the same thing. We stayed put at 275. Are we missing the boat on this call here?
Well, I heard your narrative while I was waiting in the green room, and I thought it was very spot on, because here's the problem. I'm not telling people what to do, but I'm telling you what I'm doing. I am investing from now to the end of the year, assuming 0 rate cuts.
Right.
Zero. I think the chance of a rate cut is 0. And I'll tell you why I think that. First of all, Fed bashing is done by every administration. Timeless. I mean, part of presidential 101, you go to class to become president, is you learn how to bash the Fed. It's the first thing you do. You always bash the Fed. The Fed doesn't give a damn because they know they're running under an independent mandate, but you bash them anyways. And in the case of what Trump is doing with Powell, at least he's letting him wear a hard hat. You saw that thing last week. That was crazy when they were looking at the renovations at the Fed. It's completely irrelevant to rate hikes. But the more he bashes him, I think what Trump is trying to do is buy insurance that there isn't a rate increase. Forget about rate cuts. He's trying to really, between now and next May, not let him increase rates and make Powell think twice. But I don't think Powell gives a damn, because his mandate is that of independence. And everybody knows if the president, any president, not just Trump, any president, fire the Fed, that would really not be a good signal to the globe that comes to invest in the U.S. as the largest sovereign wealth destination because of the independence of the Fed and the transparency of the legal system and all the rest of it. But if you think about the Fed, Powell can't make that decision on his own. He's got to convince a majority of his board to do this. And what are they looking at? They're looking at a really strong job market. The print on GDP at 3% was way ahead of forecast, number one. Number two, wages up. There's inflation in wages. And inflation itself down. So tell me why, when they look at that, they would say, oh, let's cut rates. Why would you cut rates? What's wrong? Why do you need to cut rates? What is it about it? You can whine about the housing market, but a 7% mortgage worked for 45 years, 50 years, 60 years. That's kind of where it was. And we had this anomaly for a couple of decades of free money, but those days are over. So the idea that we're going back down to 2.5% or 3% on the Fed, it just isn't going to happen. And I think people should wake up, smell the roses, and invest accordingly. So
we only had 11 voting members yesterday, Kevin, and 2 dissented. So to your point, that's nowhere near the majority. And so
first time in 30 years.
And I asked Neil that same question that you sort of asked us, and what's going to be the reason to cut rates? And we don't see any. PCE came in as expected today as well. So no reason to do anything there. Kevin, you've been with us for a bit now. And we created something on social media that every time I see it, Neil sees it, it's just so funny, and we can't stop laughing. So if you bear with me for 30 seconds, we're going to show it. If you have a screen there, I would love.
Yeah, I'm watching you right now. Let's see it.
Okay. So let's go. Let's play it, guys. And I want to get your comments, and I hope it's a fun one.
All I want to do with you guys is crush you like the cockroaches you are. That's
What?
Oh, come on now. No, whoa, hold on a second. Nice to this
Cockroaches.
cannot wear an Apple Watch on your wrist when you're being a fashionista. That's forbidden. If, do you really want to go to hell because you happen to have your Apple Watch?
hell?
Do not do that. Only when you're working out it's permitted.
The going to hell might be a little harsh on that one.
You lose your soul and you go to hell.
I'd like to say thank you to Kevin O'Leary, but
All
he
I
might
want to
win.
do with you guys is
there we
crush
go,
you like the
Kevin.
cockroaches.
We'll get that off, but that was funny. I thought the best part was you were wearing the double watches in that video as well. We're all babyified there, so AI, as I know it's a part of your schedule now, that's big, and that was pretty fun to build. And I just want to show you today. So today, I've got on the Submariner on one hand, and then because we're planning on going to the gym, I got the Apple Watch on the other hand. So not only do I have a red band.
See that? So that's permitted. I will allow you to do that as long. But if you don't show up at the gym, then you're going to hell again. So remember that.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So there's a lot of pressure.
Apparently that's still happening.
I'm still sitting here. I'm waiting for that FIGMA IPO to come through. So maybe we'll have to sit here.
Let me just, we're ending on watches as we always should. I think that's the most important part of the segment.
Correct.
I'm wearing two pieces today, okay? But I'm going to talk about these in 1 second.
Oh gosh.
Recently, when I was on the set of Shark Tank, one of the producers came up and said, you know, Kevin, this show is about inspiring young people to take risk and go out and start a business. And you're wearing two watches, both of them no one can afford because they're piece uniques, and you're coming across like a real asshole. I think you got to change it up. The left hand can have the crazy piece. The right hand you have to get people into horology by showing them watches they can afford. So we're going to let you wear the crazy piece left, affordability on the right, and you're going to promote affordability because you keep telling people never borrow money to buy a watch. So that's what I'm doing from now on. So check this out.
All right.
I'm going to move up to the camera to get you close up a little bit there. This is an FP Elegant, okay?
Can't afford that
this
one.
watch sells for about $27,000, trades in the aftermarket at $105,000 to $175,000. FP Elegant. This is a Ren. Now, this is a guy out of New York, the wrist enthusiast. Beautiful looking dial. We're talking $1,500 here. You can get it online. His name is Craig, wrist enthusiast, only sells direct. This is a beautiful piece. There we have it. We got FP Jordan, we got the Ren, and I look absolutely spectacular. And that's what I'm doing.
Kevin, I'm just glad when you stood up there that you weren't wearing your boxers, because I thought that could have been.
Guys, I have no pants on. You should know that right now.
Why did I bring this up?
Keeping it real.
Yeah, keeping it real as per usual. Say hi to Nancy and your crew as well, Kevin. Great job. And I want to let you know, my 10-year-old, we had a trip in Boston, and I was scanning through the TV in the hotel. Shark Tank was on, a network there, and she's like, leave it, I want to watch Shark Tank. So you are inspiring the young ones there, and she loves watching the business and talking about that
Thank you. I'm very proud of that. Thank you very much.
So you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you again, Kevin O'Leary, for joining us here live on Trader TV Live. Have a great rest of your week, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Take care. Take care.
Take care.
All right, there it is.
Oh, I
Mr.
love
No
it.
Pants as well. What Wonder Valley is going to be
Apparently, we're
built?
all still going to hell, but the Wonder Valley.
I got to go to the gym.
That's a big
apparently,
deal.
No,
that's a big deal.
All right. Well, what a great interview. Thanks to Dara,
as always,
for all the questions, and thank you for Kevin for taking time out of his day to join us, and always willing to come through.
I know we're going to the midday, guys, but there's been the first update on FIGMA. The indicated open, you got to put a new order in.
Yeah,
the indicated open is now $65 with a 3 million buy and bounce. Remember, until that shifts, now they've paired. It was like 47 or 48 million, and it was 33, which is the auction price. Now 65 is the indicated open. So if you're using limit on open orders, you're probably going to have to move it. This is now an indication that we could be getting a little bit closer to that open here on FIGMA.
All right, yeah, I just want to say that the Qs continue to fall down, man. We got a big trade alert on this one. This is now $2.25 in the money right now on the TQQs, just off VWAP, man, and just watching this market bleed south side here. I hope we can hold above water. We always joke around like, you know, these guys owe us some minutes and this and that and going back and forth. 11:25 right now.
That's
Plus we went early yesterday with the Fed.
That's a record.
You know?
They owe us like a half an hour at this point.
All right, it's Joseph and Sharif. Thank you so much for watching. Great job there today, Neil.
shout out to Kevin.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for FIGMA to open up. Then I got to go to the gym, or apparently hell is upon me very, very soon. So we'll wait to do that. But yeah, good day so far. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Adara, Fabian, Andre, everybody for making the best of it. Thanks, Brendan, as well. And once again, thank you to Kevin for coming through. You guys can probably go find some of those clips maybe on socials or rewind it if you missed them around 10:50 or so. Kevin O'Leary. So, all right, man, good luck to everybody on FIGMA. I'm taking the long no matter what price it opens up at, to be honest with you. So we'll wait for that, see what happens. Looks like it might be getting close
It may be.
as we're down to 3
Or
million.
it could be 1 o'clock, who knows?
Or it could be 1 o'clock. Sharif is going to be on that no matter what, so will Joseph. So pay attention to that. It's the midday show. We're off to them right now.
I got it. Assassino, I'm not plugged in for a little bit, okay?
Not tapped in.
And I am boom.